Yeah, I can't hear you.
All right, what about now?
Yeah,
All right. What's going on? How y'all doing? How you doing? How you doing? Happy Sunday to all. Glad you
yes,
guys
sir.
are in attendance today. What up, brother Hink? Thought it was a sport event going on. You said you was in a car. I thought you might have been going to a game or something. I can't hear you.
My city flooding right now, so I gotta put on my cape and make sure my city don't go under siege.
Uh, okay. Got you. Yeah, I understand. I think I heard some. You're not too far from Nashville, right?
Yeah, I'm only a
Okay.
couple hours.
Yeah, I got an alert about that, saying something was going on around there. Some type of alert. Let me see. Anyhow, well, y'all make sure y'all be safe up there in that area, man. I know how difficult it can be, especially when cities hold water. I don't think no city hold water more than New Orleans. That's tripped out, man. A couple minutes of rain and what did it do? And to be able to go into regular establishments that we always go into and see that they don't have any baseboards at all because it just consistently floods. So that's a normal look for them.
Mm.
Let's see what we got in the chat. What's going on, Marcus? Marcus says, I think in most cases, you have to go through the pain to receive wisdom. You can receive knowledge and information without pain, but wisdom is a different thing. We got Be Original. In mathematics, we call this love, hell, or right, which basically is understood to mean pain promotes change. Your parents say don't touch and touch anyway and get burned and don't touch again. What's going on, Fishing and Fit? Say good afternoon. Kimberly says she agrees with Marcus, dedicated to my future children's future gifted Lapeef memberships. Thank you for that as well. Dedicated to my children. Christopher Matthews says, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the greatest network ever. Dedicated to my children again with the Sunday energy. Dale Matthews in the house as well. Angela Swift say Sunday. That's right. That's right. Christopher Matthews. I guess he was one of the people on the receiving end of those memberships. Thank you. CJ Sparring Matches says, hello, everyone. What's going on, CJ? How you doing, sir? Good to see you. As you guys come in, hit that like button and also make sure you subscribe to the channel. James Wilson's in the house. Says facts. Facts. If you are catching us on the replay, also hit that like button and also make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. I'm going to go ahead and kick it off with this, man. This topic right here. You don't need experience. You don't need to experience pain to be wise. So I do have a question. I'm gonna start off with the panel just to get this started. I got some clips, man, of some scenario. I got two clips that I think would be interesting to kick it off with after the questions, and then I got some scenarios that play out. Looking forward to getting you guys' perspectives on there. But the first question I have for the panel is: do you think most men ignore advice because they don't believe it won't happen to me? And is that ego or inexperience? Again, that question is, do you think most men ignore advice because they believe it won't happen to me? And is that an ego or inexperience? Go ahead, open it up for us, True.
Mm. I think it's a little bit of both. I think that with maturity, I believe you start to listen differently. I think when you're a little bit young and inexperienced and uninformed, it tends to have a certain level of limitation in your capacity to understand. So that's just what I think. I don't think it's so much ego. I really just think that it's just when you're young, you just see the world different. You need time. You need more experience. You need growth. It just won't make sense to you, and I think that's why they have like grades in school. can't teach a first grader something that you're supposed to teach a 12th grader. They're not going to be able to digest it. And that's my take on it.
All right. What about you, Viz? Do you think most men ignore advice because they believe it won't happen to me? And is that ego or inexperience?
My bad. I was switching mics. Yeah, I don't know what's up with this. Okay, I might have to come back.
I can hear you. I can hear you just fine right now.
Yeah, no, it's just that it's coming through the computer and not the mics. But ask the question one more time. I was listening.
Do you think most men ignore advice because they believe it won't happen to me? And is that ego and experience?
I think that it's a little bit of both. I think that just remembering some things when I was a young man, that I partaked in, that I knew that it could affect me, but it was like, I'm young, it was, you kind of have that bulletproof mindset. I think as a young man, you take more risk that you wouldn't as a more mature man. So I think that definitely plays a part. But just with me always being around older men, I understood the value of seeing what these older men went through and experienced, and said, you know what, that's something that I don't want to experience. But in that case, you have to drop your ego. So I think that it's a little bit of both.
I think most men ignore advice because they just don't want to hear it. I think they're stubborn. I think they are in their own ways. I think when people become conditioned to think a certain way, I believe that hearing something that's foreign to them or something that they have to digest and actually play in their head over, it's like it's too much work for them to be able to do that because they've been doing it for so long. So I think it's a little bit difficult. I think it's ego. I think some of it is inexperience because, like, how do you know? Some people don't believe in testing things. I think there's a healthy way that you can test some things out. For example, some of the information I receive on the internet, the only way to really know if it's going to work is if you put it into play. But if you don't put it into play, then how do you know if it can work? Now, if you're more logical and you can see it working, then you can probably just adopt some of the information that we do receive. But I think people just don't like change. I think change requires somebody to be uncomfortable, and a lot of folks just don't like to get uncomfortable. That's just what it is.
I mean, with that goes back to the ego, right? Your ego is so big that I don't want to look at it no other type of way. This is the only way. And of course, when you get caught up in that mentality, especially with not being willing to even test it, you're setting yourself up for failure, because where's the growth in that? Where's the vulnerability, that comes, that blossoms new ideas and a better version of yourself when you go through that process.
All right, I'm gonna go to this next question. What's one painful lesson you learned that another man warned you about? Let me see. We might better get Hank in this last question. Let me see if this thing come up. Hey, Hank, you there? You don't have to turn the camera on, but you can stay on audio only. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Let me just see if I can correct your mic a little bit. All right, go ahead and talk, Hank. That might be a little worse. All right, go ahead and talk, Hank.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? All right, you can just listen in until you get stable, man. It might be be kind of difficult. Can you hear me, Hank?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we can hear you. Okay, it's a little bit of static, but let me see. All right. Can you hear me, Hank?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we just got a delay. But let me see if I can answer this question for you. Do you think most men ignore advice because they believe it won't happen to me? And is it ego or inexperience?
Okay. Could you repeat the question again? I missed that.
Do you think most men ignore advice because they believe it won't happen to me? And is that ego or inexperience?
I think the younger versions of ourselves. I think a younger version of ourselves trying to move and operate like whether just because it happened to you doesn't mean it happened to you. We always think we're exceptions to the rules. We don't. We I think a lot of us fail when we don't heed the advice that maybe somebody else who's been through some things shares with us. They just kind of blow it off and what I'm saying, they don't know what they're talking about. They I'm stronger than they are. I can handle more. I dealt with certain adversity, so I feel like I can handle this. And sometimes it's not always the case. But it's one of those things. Sometimes you got to touch the stove and actually realize it's hot before you learn your lesson. So this the title I think is well needed, and especially I'm saying for men for sure.
All right. Next question on the table. I'm gonna start with you first, True. But what's one painful lesson you learned that another man warned you about, but you had to go through it anyway?
That's tough. That's tough. Yeah, that's tough. I'll give me a sec. I have to think about it, because that's tough.
All right, I'm gonna come back to you. Maybe Viz got one. What's one painful lesson you learned that another man warned you about, but you had to go through it anyway? Viz.
Oh, I think one that every man could agree with is
It's on something you went through, not what every man gone through, what you gone through.
man. That's such a. I'm trying to think of one, but just the first one that would come to mind by default. Um, I feel like one that immediately comes to mind by default is just dealing with your first love. The first woman that you fall for. Um, being able to um, approach it in a different way than what you would when you're feeling that puppy love, right? Even though you might it's actually love. It may feel like love, but how much of that is puppy love um, in realizing the investment, I suppose, that comes along with it. So I think that will be like the first one that comes to mind. But yeah, that's something I would have to think on a little more. That's a good question, though.
All right, before I go to True, I'll go ahead and say what mine is. I think mine would be to be a little bit more disciplined when you're having sex out here with women. Um, I think that one of the things I had to learn was not to smash everyone, right? I think one of those things, sometimes you can have a potential business partner or friendship or associate, however you want to look at it, man, I think that sex has ruined a lot of relationships, because once sex gets involved, then it's just a whole nother level. So I think those are one of the things that I probably had to learn the hard way, which is, you ain't got to hit everybody. What about you, True?
Yeah, apologies. It took me a while. I had to sit there and think about the archives, man, because these conversations over years. But I will say, one of my boys, I think I was about 21, told me never mess up your driving record and never mess up your credit. He didn't explain why. He just left that out there. And obviously, we're adults, so those things are important, but I didn't understand the magnitude, especially of the driving record. And I didn't do anything crazy. It was, parking tickets, toll roads, things of that nature. But he said that, and then it rang true years later. And then the credit, I didn't understand it when I was young. I didn't have anybody to guide me. So I just let it be, I let it lapse, let it reset and all those things. But in my later years, in my earlier 30s, started to see how deep those things mattered, how everything costs more. It was harder to navigate. So those, I would say, stood out the most in my mind out of all the advice that I've gotten over the years. And mainly because, I think my dad was pretty key in helping me to grow, mature, and understand. And then I watched the knuckleheads around me, and I learned from their mistakes. So I kept away from a lot, honestly. That's why I wasn't a hard-headed young man, in my opinion. I've always kind of had my own foresight. I thought I was pretty wise to a degree because I listened and then I paid attention. But those two definitely, don't mess up your driving record, don't mess up your credit, because they have damaging repercussions, as you get older.
So you're saying that was a part of your experience of what you went through?
Oh yeah, because like I said, he didn't explain it. He was okay. Yeah, he was one of my boys. We grew up together, relatively intelligent. But he told me those things and didn't explain it. All right, I heard them. Right. As I got older, I started to speak. I'm like, oh, okay. It was true. It was painful, right. Financially painful, for sure.
Yeah.
Ikene, what's going on, brother? What's one painful lesson you learned that another man warned you about, but you had to go through it anyway? You're on mute, just so you know. You're on mute, just so you know, Ikene.
I was speaking, but didn't know that I kept myself quiet. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I would say in life that a man has told me, but I wasn't really paying attention until it hit me. I would say one of the men that have told me some things that end up having a life effect due to me not applying wisdom to it is my father. And when we speak about wisdom, like I said to folks, wisdom is not something that is given to you by God. They lied to you when they told you that God gives wisdom. God doesn't give wisdom. God doesn't give you knowledge. Those two things you have to acquire. Knowledge, wisdom is the things that you've been through in life, but applying it effectively is what makes you a man of wisdom. It's not given to you by God, but you can only pray that God gives you understanding. Because when you take understanding and apply it towards your knowledge, that is wisdom. That being said, that is what I came to understand later on in life. But as a youth, you can't have wisdom. You cannot have wisdom as a youth. In fact, you don't even get to apply wisdom in your life until you pass 40. In your 30s, you don't have wisdom because you're still going through the process of life. You have to be 40 and above to start having wisdom. Because wisdom is not what you have, actually, it's what you demonstrate. You can't have wisdom. You can only demonstrate wisdom. But that having been said, my dad, one thing that he told me that I never really failed to apply is the woman that I deal with. I mean that
Oh,
was getting incoming call, so the incoming call. Can you guys hear me now?
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
was getting an incoming call. That
Just be mindful. We got some other folks
yeah.
that just speak. We
So
want to make sure we keep it going
okay,
around.
Well, I
yeah,
do got to give
yeah,
some
yeah.
pushback on that, Ikane, of you not being able to be wise before 40. Like that sounds crazy.
No, wise and wisdom is not the same, though.
You said it's not the
They're
same.
not the same. No, it's not the same.
So you're saying you can have wisdom before 40, but you can't be wise before 40.
You can be wise before 40, but you can't have wisdom before 40. Because being wise is you being careful for something that won't ruin your life. You understanding what has messed up somebody else. True understanding that if I do this, this is repercussion of it. Wisdom is you being able to coach the next generation, you being able to advise the next generation, you being able to guide multiple people under your belt or that are beyond you, you being able to speak the truth, you being able to use your life experience to tell somebody this and that. Is not you avoiding motor accident.
Well,
It's not you avoiding something. Being wise is you avoiding something. But having wisdom is you being able to rule or guide something or people or community.
well
Wisdom is very high.
that
Wisdom and wise. Go ahead.
that would go against young men being wise or leaders amongst their peers though. Like if that was the case, there wouldn't people wouldn't follow a leader while you're 18, 20, 25, these young ages where people are a little more reckless, but you may have someone like True where to JR's point, to where and not to throw him under the bus, but if you're just slanging, peeing everywhere, and True like, hey bro, you gotta treasure yourself, you gotta value yourself, slow down.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? That's him being wise and showing wisdom in an area that someone else may not in their peers.
Okay. What you said is partially true. But like I said, being able to avoid something is not wisdom. That is why you see it's not every elderly person you go to for advice, even though they have life experience. It's not everybody that you think is mature that you go to advice, even though they have life experience. Because guess what? Application of your life experience wisely is wisdom. But how much life experience do you have? That is why 40 years and above is the best way to define wisdom. Being careful not to be in situation is being wise. You see what I'm saying? So that young boy requires wisdom, even no matter how wise he is. Because him being wise is because of his age and him being able to differentiate between bad and good. But that wise kid going to an elderly man to obtain advice that are very, very favorable and to his benefit is now seeking wisdom. He seeks wisdom because he has to go to that elderly man. But he has to seek the counsel of an elderly man that can give him the right advice, which means pour into him the right wisdom. That is why sometimes you have, like, when we sit in this forum to talk, I always tell young men in this forum, look for an elderly man that can pour into you wisdom. It's not what you seek from men in this that's on the forum. You don't go on YouTube seeking wisdom. You can go to JR. You can go to Hink. You can come to me. We
No,
of certain age.
hey,
I'm coming. I'm heading somewhere.
you can definitely go to YouTube for wisdom, man.
But if you go to YouTube for wisdom,
YouTube.
okay, you didn't understand what I said. I said you have to be careful for the kind of men you seek advice from on YouTube. You can't seek it from men under certain age, no matter how wise they are. You see what I'm saying? Because wisdom and being wise is not the same thing.
All right, hold on, Viz, and hold on, you can let me get CJ in there. CJ, what are your thoughts about what's going on? If you can answer the question, what is one painful lesson you learned that another man warned you about, but you had to go through it anyway?
Good morning or good afternoon, gentlemen. Junior. Hello. This is my first time up.
All right,
So
welcome.
to the question, I don't know if I got specific examples, but I'm sure I've done it. Been told something and I just ignored the advice and did it anyway, and probably suffered the consequences of it. What was the first question you asked me? I'm sorry, brother.
The question is scrolling at the bottom there too, just in case you need some reference. But what's one painful lesson you learned that another man warned you about that you had to go through it anyway?
Probably dealing with women, man. Dealing with women is probably the worst. The worst thing, feel me? I can't think of a specific example, but yeah, probably just dealing with women in general.
All right. Hey, Mark Days, I see you in the back. I'm not familiar with you. You need to. Oh, there you go, right there. What's going on, Mark? How you doing?
What's happening, brothers? Peace to the panel. Appreciate y'all.
All right, no problem, man. I'm gonna ask you the same question. What's one painful lesson you learned that another man warned you about, but you had to go through it anyway?
I'm trying to dig back in the lexicon of memories to see how many dudes actually gave me valuable jewels. It wasn't too many, but what I can say, I was warned about, betrayal in the streets and, how your friends are there only when you're up and they're not there when you're down. And that definitely proved to be true for me. I displayed loyalty to a lot of people who didn't deserve it. And it came back to bite me later for sure.
All right. Appreciate that. Hey, Hank, you want to ask that question? I don't know if you answered it already.
Yeah. It's kind of funny to think about some of those lessons that my uncle and my grandfather poured into me. I remember one lesson that I remember the most was don't ever put your money, your loose money, in the same pocket as you put your keys in. And I'm listening to my grandfather say he don't know what he's talking about. It was that one time I did do that and had the keys in the same pocket, and guess what? I'm pulling out my keys and didn't realize I pulled out my money at the same time, and now I lost my money because I made that mistake and didn't listen to what he's saying, and it made sense after I suffer the consequences. But it definitely made sense. Those little lessons like that, people don't, you take for granted. You don't think about it later. Then once you think about, God damn it, it makes sense. How many times you went in your pocket at the same time you had cash and didn't probably realize you dropped something? And it might not have to be money. It could be some phone number. You know what I'm saying? You had a chick phone number. Now back in the days before we had phones to put our phone numbers in. We used to have to write them on paper. You old guys, you young guys may not have to them suffer them consequences. But some guys of a certain age, like Via's old ass and Ikane and JR, we used to have to write numbers on napkins and papers and shit like that. Well, I lost those too because I had them in the same pocket as my keys. It was those life lessons that you have to learn and go through and do stuff like that. Now I know it's not nothing major, nothing like that, but at the time, losing money when you were a young teen and you ain't got much money on you anyway, it hurt. But those life lessons I had to deal with, and there's some other ones. we could definitely talk about throughout the show for sure, but that's just one.
All right, let me roll up this next question. Are women better at learning from other people's mistakes than men, or are they just better at hiding the damage? Are women better at learning from other people's mistakes than men, or are they just better at hiding the damage? I see you shaking your head. Go ahead, Mark.
I mean, that's an easy one, brother. They just better at hiding the damage, man. that's a no brainer. I don't even know if we got to do a deep dive on that, man. That's the easy one. That's what they queens are hiding. That's what they specialize in.
Okay. Do you want to explain why you think that? Because maybe
Yeah.
somebody on the panel that may disagree in the audience.
Oh yeah, 100%. I just mean that, women are just naturally more secretive. They're naturally more prone to and have a propensity to hold things longer. Things that may paint them in a bad light, they're very good at never bringing those things up, never bringing those things to the forefront, never bringing them to light. So 100%, they can make mistakes, they can stumble, they'll fall, they'll have a whole bunch of things happen in their background. They have plans for you that you don't even know they have for you, and they know how to keep those things concealed. It's just something that's innate in them. I don't think they even do it on purpose. It's just something they do.
Is anybody that disagree with them?
Yeah, I kind of got to get pushed. I don't think that women necessarily do it better. I think it just depends on the person. Some people are more open to allowing for their faults or their failures to be seen or known or public, and some people are a shitload more sneakier with it. I don't think that it necessarily comes to if it's a man or a woman. I think that that's just more so the person, and even then, I would say that it depends on what it is, right? Some things people wear on their sleeves to where it's like this is what I experienced, this is what I went through, and I'm okay with other people seeing it so that you can learn from this. Going back to the statement with Ikene, where anyone can learn from you amongst your wisdom amongst your peers if that person is willing to show what their faults are. So I think that is a man. I think that is equal across the board. It just varies on the person.
Can I ask this brother a question?
Yeah, you sure can.
About the pushback. The only question I have for you, brother, are women more prone to be vulnerable amongst each other because they know they won't be held accountable and they won't be brought up to, not trial, that's maybe not the right word, but no one's going to hold them accountable about what they've done? Or is it that they're going to hide it from us because they don't want to face the judgment or the accountability? So I agree with you that they may not hide their mistakes amongst their peers. I totally agree with you on that because they know other women are not going to question them or hold them accountable. But when it comes to us men, they definitely hiding the mistakes. They're not telling us everything.
I mean, that's fair, but that can be said for men as well. There's a group of men that will converse, and to JR's point, I'm only using that because he mentioned it, but I'm slanging peen everywhere, right? Man, I just hit two of them last night. I dropped one off and went to the other one. Some guys, depending on the group, they're gonna be like, man, hey man, you the man, boy, CJ, you the man, boy. You know what I'm saying? And then there's gonna be some that's gonna be like, hey man, you ain't burning, well, you ain't worried about your joint falling off. You know what I'm saying? And so it really just depends on what the circle is amongst that peers. And even then, most men aren't going to tell the women, you know what I'm saying, what their flaws or faults may be. So again, I think that is still a even playing ground with that.
Can I respond to the question? I think I thought about it a little bit. I said maybe women are better at learning from others' mistakes because men have a we could fix it complex. Like even if we see a woman doing bad, that's why we had to come up with this saying, "Can't turn a hoe into a housewife." Because I'm sure plenty men have tried. We could fix it. But women, I think they learn from other women's mistakes, but they might still like future have multiple baby mamas. I think they want to be part of that rotation. it's not that they think it's a mistake. I think they gladly will be a part of that rotation. But men, we think we could fix her. I could fix this. I could fix that. I think we have a harder time learning from other mistakes. I think we have to be put through the fire.
What you guys are saying? Oh, I'm sorry. Is it my time to speak or wait? Or I should
Yeah,
wait?
I'm gonna make sure I put the time on, man. So just a minute and 50 seconds, man, so we can kind of get the conversation going. So
Yeah, can we make it to? Can we run it to 2 minutes?
I don't want to point you guys out, but just make sure y'all keep it 1 minute 50 seconds. We can always come right back around to you.
So why did you have to say when I came up? That means you're pointing somebody out, brother.
Sometimes you're wrong with it there.
No problem. No problem. I got you. I got you. No problem, my brother. The thing about it is this, right? From my own point is that there is something called what do they call it? Consequences, right? When you don't really have consequences to anything, you will do however you want. But also, when you do have consequences, but you choose suppression, you choose something to influence your thinking, then the consequences goes away. But if you also do have enablers, those enablers will make it harder for you to face the consequences. That's why we have things like women being able to get away with whatever they want. That's what I have to say.
All right, good job, you can name.
God damn, that's gotta be a goddamn record. That's gotta be a record right there.
I'm going to go ahead and print them out in the award, man. Let me go on Google and find him one of those awards. Anyhow, go ahead, OG. What you got for us? Are women better at learning from other people's mistakes than men, or are they just better at hiding the damage?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. Hey, I know I got a minute and 50 seconds. So come back to me because I'm going to have to think about that. You all know I'm old, so I'm going to have to let that register in my head. Yeah, so I used 25 seconds now.
No. You lose 25 seconds. Go ahead, KP. What you think about that?
Yeah, peace to the panel. So, men lie more, women are better liars. Women don't heal, they hide their trauma. They put up a representation, then you just got to rattle that cage enough, then you'll see what's in that cage. We have a lot of women that we speak about, actually women on the Lapeef Network. All due respect to them, because we all come in flawed in some ways. But I believe a woman has a way of hiding her imperfections behind the makeup, behind the eyelashes, behind the BBL, behind the other things that throw you off from the real person that you're actually trying to see, the natural. Then when you touch matters of the heart, that's something foreign to most. We've had discussions over and over again about women showing their true representation. What is that? That's answered in this question. They hide their damage. I just gave you a couple of things and dynamics that they use to hide it. But when you strip them naked of those things, you get to see the wounds and the scars. And us as men, we're born protectors. But flip that coin, it doesn't work the same. But staying on the question itself, I think women are the masters of deception. No ninja stars, but the dust, once that clears, you see who that person truly is. And that's no disrespect to the majority of women, but there's a subset that shows that within the communities that we deal with. I dropped it.
Hey, Junior, can I respond to the second part of the question real quick?
Yeah, and that's not Junior, but JR. But yeah,
oh, JR, sorry, brother. I don't know if women are better at hiding the damage either. They come up here and tout how damaged they are all the time, how unhealed they are. They need to heal. They're in a healing stage. Men, we come up here and pretend like our lives are happy and in bliss. We don't even, when we're in private, we might tell our friends about how bad it's going. But when we're in public, we put on the mask just like the women do. But for the most part, the women don't even, they say, I think we just accept their damage more than they accept our damage. That's what it is.
JR,
you can't base off of what women do of what you see on YouTube though. You can't do that because you got to go from what you see in real life. In real life, You know what I'm saying? If you really in front of a person, you can sit there kind of see if a man's going through some shit by the way he moves and operate, how he acts and carries himself. You can tell. Now, of course, that's because we always in public, men had to put on the front like everything okay. We had to do it in front of your wives or your girlfriends. You did it there. But you go in that back room, and if you was a fly on the wall, you hear a whole lot of goddamn war stories that you probably couldn't handle or deal with that men go through. They may not talk about it with the people, significant others, maybe because they don't feel comfortable enough, or maybe it's the person that they're having issue with is the person in the other room. But guess what? They can call the boy up. Hey man, why don't you come over? You know, we sit on the deck, drink a couple beers, man, and just shoot the shit. And all of a sudden now he's unloading. He don't have no problem with unloading with his partner because he know he's going to be there for him. He's not going to make him feel some type of way because he's got some shit on his chest that he really need to get off. And if that means that man wants to shed a tear too, he kind of understand it. It's not like he's doing it in front of a whole bunch of people. But if it's one-on-one with his partner, he said, man, get that shit out, wipe your tears, and let's get back to doing what we got to do.
I think I'm ready now, JR. It don't settle in a little bit.
All right, go ahead.
Hank, you got that Jesus mic today, boy. You're real loud, but it's okay. It's good to see you, though, brother. I think CJ is probably my son. I'm gonna have to have him check that DNA. He did make a good point, and I'm gonna tell you why, JR. One of the things that women don't have to be very secret to us is due to the fact is they know they got a drawing card. We go accept one way or the other most of the time because they know that we have an urge for something at the end. And if we get that, they know they can get something from that urge. So I think women are very open when they're around other women. Hell, but within 5 minutes in the break room, you can find out a whole woman life in the break room. Just in the break room. Ain't no man coming in there like that. Man coming in like that super cape on. I think CJ make a great point that number one is men, we do wear that cape all the time. Hell, we see it all on these panels. But when it comes to a woman, she can say anything because she know in the end of the day somebody go put that pipe in her. So that's that accountability y'all was talking about. But with other women, hell, that goes over to us too. Because she can say anything in front of them, we still gonna put that pipe in her. And JR, I want to pick up on earlier when y'all was talking about wisdom. A young man can be smart and can listen to somebody who's got wisdom and regurgitate that to someone else. That's smartness. All right. Another thing, I was on a panel about 2 weeks ago, and I told a young man the best pull-out game is never to put it in. And he's like, damn, I ain't never thought about it in that way. You know, because, we talk about pull-out game. Come on,
I'm
ain't
about
no
to
pull-out
disagree
game.
with OG on that one. I'm about to disagree with
Hey,
OG.
hey, my son posed too. Oh, go
You
ahead,
gotta
go
put
ahead.
it in.
Go ahead, JR.
So OG, are you making retarded offsprings? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, you make a mistake sometimes. That would make me not perfect. I be
JR, you see
Jesus.
why I gotta come at Hank? That brother be always coming at me, brother.
Hey,
Hey,
CJ, you said that you disagree with OG. What did you disagree with?
who you say?
CJ said he disagree. OG, what did you disagree with?
Oh, just about the pull-out thing. The best pull-out form is, is to put it in first.
Not say not put it in.
And not put it
And I
in.
say you gotta put it in to pull it out, baby.
That might be funny for hey CJ. That might be funny for the first 8 months, but the next 25 years, you will understand what I said.
That's your son, OG. That's your son.
Nah, I agree with OG though. I agree with OG. That's my guy.
I kind of feel like we're being a bit disingenuous with the comparison to women, though. There are plenty men in every culture that will go out and display that they're hurt, they're struggling with something out in public. These are the ones that short tempered, they're quick to pick a fight, they're always on edge. When people are around them, the people around them are on edge. those they're hurting the same way that we're saying that these women are hurting. And I would almost say that the percentage could even be directly down the middle of it being 50. So I get what everyone is saying, but I think that men uh men fall under that same exact category that we're trying to place women in separately. We all have human emotions. We all feel things the same. There's even some women that react to these emotions the same way men do, and the same for men. There's some men that react to these emotions the same way that women do. So I think that we're kind of being disingenuous in the realness, in the truthfulness of the conversation with that.
I got to give pushback to that. Men are taught to be stoic. Once a man shows his heart or shows his weak points, then he is judged as sassy. He's judged as weak. He's just as vulnerable. And there's not many places a man can be vulnerable because we've been taught to rub dirt on it, lace up your boots, no crying. This rent got to get paid. This food got to get filled with, this house got to get filled with food. The kids got to eat. There's no place or no refuge for men to show their emotions nowadays. So that is false. If
What
you
about
look it up
violent men?
dynamically wise, there's only one haven for battered men within the United States. But there are plenty for women. A woman can come off at any point in time, have a full breakdown, and she is swarmed and embraced. When a man does that, he is forever branded as weak. And then he has to work out and rebrand himself so other men can find respect for him. A lot of men state certain things, but if you look at it, how many men? There's 8 men up on this panel. How many men that you hang around that is openly telling you, yo, dog, I feel broken. I'm tired. You understand? I can't do it right. I've tried the marriage thing. I've tried the relationship thing. I can't. 8 men up here. How many men could take a man crying in front of him because he can't take it no more and his cup runneth over? There's no place for men to show that. So you say the dynamic is 50%. Sir, I beg to differ. Men got to suck it up. There's no provision for us. Lace up your boots and stop crying. Get out there and do something.
That's such a destructive thought perspective, in my opinion. I have a couple guys that I've went to with those same exact statements and remarks and feelings, and vice versa. There's a few of my homies, close guys, that came to me and said the same exact thing. And I don't think that, I think that that's kind of shifting the conversation as well. But we should.
What you said.
I think you both have, believe it or not, I think you both have points. And the reason why them guys was able to do that in front of you, because they trust you, my brother.
Exactly.
They trust you. All right. But that ain't happening everywhere. Think about this in real time, in a real situation. If you got 2 people, you got a woman and a man standing beside each other, you answer the question, you got to answer the question, you win $1 million. But on the woman's side is, she get it wrong or right, she wins $1 million. On the man's side, you got to answer it correctly. That's what we're really talking about. So a woman can say anything she want to say in front of you, and she still know you go want to give it to her. That's what I'm trying to make this so different. When you really understand, women, when you really understand it that way, men have to be so perfect. Do you understand? We have to come in real situation. When you come in the room, when a woman is gazing around, she's looking just for eyesight. She's looking for this perfect specimen. I don't care if it's power, look, height, or whatever. She's looking for the leader in the room. All right? And so when you the leader of the room, brother, you got to, even if you ain't a leader, you got to try to act like you're a leader. If you ain't got game, you got to try to spit like you got game. She don't have to do none of that because she already done did all that in the mirror. Now you chasing her. She ain't chasing you.
Well, I think that's, we ain't talked about it. I'll try to chime in on it. I think it's a great question, JR. I would say that women are horrible at learning from other people's mistakes. And the main reason is because men don't create environments to teach women how to. Most of you guys have echoed kind of the same sentiment. Our society gives women a pass, but men are running the society in a general sense. And in most cases, I believe that even in my personal interactions and the one I've observed, it seems that women have a struggle with understanding how to truly learn or adopt based on the fact that they don't deal with real immediate consequences. There's always some leverage play, or there's always a delay of response. And it's because mainly the men don't have strong enough foundations to drive these things. So that's what I believe. I don't think that they're good at learning from other people at all. You listen to the way that they talk. It doesn't hold accountability. It doesn't hold responsibility, self-responsibility. There's always an angle or something to blame. And that tells me that they lack maturity and they lack certain levels of development, which is why they need us. I digress.
So and I agree with what you're saying, True. And I think some of it is us as men, we don't offer each other grace, or at least enough grace. And maybe that's the problem. We are hard to be critical and criticize and fast to go at each other's neck if we show any signs of vulnerability or weakness or anything like that. Now, so I think that falls on us is the reason why it happens like that, OG.
Pink, you
Maybe
showed me
we
no
need to show.
grace.
Yeah, no, because you OG's retarded son, so I'm not. So also, part of the problem is that we need to continue to be better about that. So I'm gonna do it right now. CJ, I'm gonna show you some grace. I understand you're a special needs child, and I'm gonna look past that and give you some grace. And when you say some foolish shit, I'm not gonna judge you. I'm
Thank
gonna
you,
show you
brother.
grace.
I
Right on.
appreciate it, brother, man. I appreciate it.
All right, let me go ahead
Hey,
and
hey,
get
JR, before you go further, let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
Are we talking about? Are we talking? And see, this is where the conversation don't get
Yeah.
a little off to me. Are we talking about structure? Or are we just talking about game? Because I don't see when I hear men say women don't listen and they don't learn from other women. Well, we got what we call MGT in the Nation of Islam, and I'm guarantee you they're listening. We got men, so I need to know what we're talking about. Because when we start talking about certain things like it's a policy all over, then we don't. How many guys have ever been into a men's NOI, FOI meeting? How many women have been into an MGT meeting where we see this stuff actually working in real time? So we just talking about game. Come on now, anything could be true.
I appreciate your passion, OG. I'll speak from my vantage point. What you're talking about is kind of what I'm saying. Women are not repeating what they instituted as structure. Men instituted that structure. So all they're doing is echoing what was taught. Everything comes from us. That's what I'm saying. If they're not learning, it's because we're not teaching or we're not holding accountable. That's what
I
I'm
push
saying.
I push back on that. The reason why I push back on that is a man can clean a house, but you can tell when a woman's touch. So what I'm saying is, even though that structure was put there as a foundation, women build on that in MGT.
Well, I'm not removing that. I think that's just a variable. What I'm talking about is from the start.
I understand that. You understand? Well, we already know that position from the start. We are the foundation because we was men way before God created woman. We still was a man. So I do understand that part of it. But we way past that part now.
But the question was, do women learn from other people's mistakes? And in observing women's panels, observing women's rhetoric, a lot of times it seems that they don't, because they seem to follow. There's almost this towing of the line. Women try to find an angle. They try to find leverage, generally speaking. And what that shows me is that if they're learning, there will be correction. There's no correction. There's more application for game. There's more application for trying to get away or sliver or not really hold anything. Because when you learn, you do different. You do better. And they're not
So why you
necessarily doing
blaming
different,
men?
doing
Well,
better.
could that be a double mirror though?
Sure. But the question was posed to women. That's
Oh,
why.
okay. Oh, okay. I thought we was trying
Niggas
to
were
iron this
blaming
out.
men.
Hold on, y'all. Let me get Kim in there. Go ahead, Kim.
Oh,
What you got to add to the conversation?
So is this a question here? Do women learn from
The people's mistakes. Yeah.
Okay. So it depends on how you were raised, I think. Some of us, if we had very structured fathers, yes, we'll make fewer mistakes. If you were held accountable, I think we do. If you weren't, I think you still learn. It just takes you learn later, longer. You will harvest a lot more damage. I know that's not probably the popular thing to say, but it's true.
I do want to add on to that too, because I often, and I've experienced it, where a lot of women will say that they had their father, but what kind of father was he is
So,
important too,
yeah.
because I've seen women, particularly in this space, because outside of this space, I think life is different. When you talk to folks that haven't been on podcasts, they respond different, they move different, and you don't hear necessarily the talking points. The people that's in the space, when they hear these talking points, they get triggered. So you can go out there and before COVID, when people was talking about submission, they wasn't crashing out the way they do now. You know, maybe some, but it's up here. So depending on the values that their father instilled in that woman, will tell you, because people do have representatives. People do try to be what they think the man want to be, but that default setting, that default upbringing comes out, and it typically comes out in conflict and within disagreements. So if your father really taught you, I just had a conversation with my daughter, and she came downstairs to apologize because my goal is to try to teach her, right? And so it's important that I ask her, do you understand? Yes, I understand. What do you understand? Because she doesn't have clarity as far as what she understands, then how do I know if she truly understands it? If I'm teaching her a lesson, she has to articulate it back to me in a way that it seems like she's grasping it. Because when she's out there on her own, my goal is for her to be able to make the correct decision or the best decision, depending on the situation. Because I'm not going to always be there. So you can be present, but if they don't know how to navigate in these situations, circumstances, environments, then you can't really say that you taught them anything. And we see that because people who have fathers, they don't know if they taught them. Yeah, this is what I did. This is what I was present. We went here. I always traveled with them. I always had conversations with them. But did they retain it? Did they see any value in what you was teaching them? Because if they can't put it all together, they're just words. You're on mute, just so you know.
You're correct. I probably should have loaded it also with if you had a father that was corrective, regardless of whether or not you're a woman. Meaning, yes, I'm a girl. Yes, you're going to probably be softer, but there's certain things that there's a line. So, for example, I was told that there's certain ways I could not talk to my mother. Did I try my mother more? Yes. I absolutely did not talk to my father in a certain way. Still don't. Still haven't. Still will never. This was understood bound, but there was also a line that I couldn't cross. It was corrected very quickly. There was attempts made, but not much and not far. I couldn't talk to my mother like that. It was understood that, yes, you're respectful to me, but you're also going to be respectful to your mother. When it comes to things like responsibility, you had to be accountable through and through, not because you were a girl, but because this was the expectation. This is what you're going to do. And if you don't, there's going to be repercussions. Not always discipline, but you're going to be talked about. You're going to be asked. So things of that nature, how you talk to people, how you carry yourself. It does depend on the type of dad. And you're right, there's physical presence, and then there's emotional presence, and there's also intellectual presence. If you have all three of those in one man, you're golden, you're good. If some of those are missing, I'm not saying you're not golden, but you may struggle. So if we're saying that the father's at the forefront and he has all that, then I think that's great. What I do see nowadays, just in work, and what I see, a woman who doesn't have that or didn't have that in the beginning, she's likely, or she may struggle a little bit more, a little bit longer. And again, it just depends. And I'm not saying a woman can't have that, but to answer your question, I think there's been so much grace granted to women that's why we're learning later, some of us.
I did want to respond to this right quick. He says, JR, no amount of talking overrides female nature. And I'm not really sure where you was going with it, but I'm just going to take a stab at it. I do think that both men and women have nature in them, but if everybody was to crash, if everybody was crashing out, then I don't think we would have wives. I don't think that we would have husbands. I think that people are able to restrain, right? I think we all have emotions. What I tell my son is that it's okay for him to feel. It's just I want him to regulate those emotions before he hit the external. I'm not telling you that you can't feel. I think it's human for us to be able to feel. There's a few times that I wanted to slap the shit out of a few people, but before I hit the external, I have to make sure that I correct it. So I think it's important for us but you can't do that unless you have the understanding, because there's consequences. There's if you go on toe for toe, matching the energy of a woman, then you're going to be looked at a certain way. So that's why I like to instill the understanding when you communicate with folks, and particularly my kids and people that's under me, or the people that want to actually understand this like ideology. If you understand it, I think that you're more likely to receive it, and you can see it act in these situations. But if you don't have the understanding, then I think a lot of people just be reckless out here because they see no value in what you said.
JR, let me ask you something.
I was going to say, go ahead.
I just want to ask you something quickly. You always talking about wisdom and all that stuff. Do you think it's a missing element in the world society today? Because all them things that we're missing or we're hearing in this conversation used to not just be on the man. It used to be piggyback with the grandmother, the grandfather, where that support system that we go to the doctor for now, that used to be a support base. And since the family is so small now and it's not ingrained into the older generation like grandfather and grandmother, that used to be a great support base. And correction would come a lot of time from the grandmother and grandfather for the male and the female child. Do you think that's a missing element in where we're at today?
It's just chaotic right now. And I think people have to recognize that it's just chaos. It's just so many different variables that determine outcomes now. And there is no structure. The best structure you can really have is within your home if you want to instill it. And hopefully, as the children get older, you start to see a difference. But I think it'd be a difficult task to really try to correct the entire world when it's just full of chaos. And then there's new variables being introduced into the situation where you don't have a full understanding of it. Like there are some people, like I can see that the traditional ways have passed by. Like we don't really see those being displayed right now. But I don't think the people that's being born don't even understand that it used to be different back then. They don't know because they didn't live through it. So now you're trying to talk to people who've never seen this in place and they're not seeing them in the home. So it's just so many different things that's going on. You just got to choose a lane. And the only way you're going to be able to make a difference, in my honest opinion, is if you do it in your house first. And that's the only way you can do. And everybody that's grown, everybody that's opinionated and have a mind of their own that's not impressionable, they're going to do what they want to do. You ain't going to be able to change for it. They've been doing this shit for 15 years. What make you think they're going to change overnight?
Yeah, 30, probably 30.
The only hope that you're going to really have for it is if they're able to understand it. They can still understand it. Understand it, not the CLB. They can still understand it and still not adopt it. Yeah. It's going to take some time. They have to look at that individual within a certain light. They have to respect that person. They have to see that person as value to them for even the possibility of it changing.
Well, the thing is, though,
one thing that I was going to say is this, right? One thing that I got to say is this. When you as a man have no responsibility or shouldn't take responsibility for a woman you're not married to. There is a reason why she's not married to you, and you don't marry her, right? But what I gotta say only applies to wives. But before I say this, I gotta say one thing. There are people in the background or in the chat room that when people speak, you quote the Bible. Not everybody here is a Christian. Some of us are not Christians. Some of us are Christians. You can't always bring your Bible. I understand that's where you go to, but that is not where I go to. My religion supersedes your Bible. So when I speak based on religion, okay? Based on my tradition. Having said that, one thing that I got to say is this. As a man, when your wife acts wrong and you don't correct it, you are held to account. It doesn't matter if the woman is good or in between or crazy. you are to be held responsible because guess what? You're supposed to have fixed that at home before it spills outside. Divorce is not bad. This is what I got to tell people. Divorcing a woman is not a bad thing. It's not the end of life. Divorce is you punishing somebody for their misbehavior consistently. Christianity may have said that divorce is bad. That's Christianity. I'm not a Christian. Every culture doesn't make divorce a bad thing. When you are shamed for divorcing a woman, you are shamed because of what? They think that you should reward her by keeping her in the house. You need to divorce somebody that cannot respect you.
So
Can I
divorce in your culture isn't shameful.
It's
Because
not
I
shameful. It's not shameful in my culture. The thing is that Christianity came and made it shameful in my
well, no,
culture,
this it's
but
not just
but
it's
it's
not
not
that's not
supposed to.
just Christianity though, because it's cultures
In
all across
every
the world.
culture, divorce is not is not a shameful thing. It's only in Christianity that divorce is made to be shameful. In
That's
Islam,
incorrect.
in Buddhism,
Yeah,
every
yeah, no, that there's no way that that's correct. There's no way that that's true.
That
okay.
is
Do you
correct.
know? I
so
don't
do
know.
you want to
You
go
guys
first
always think
or
that every culture revolves around Christianity. Christianity is just 2,000 years old. We have cultures that have been around for 300,000 years.
And
And
so
divorce,
so
The Bible.
Christianity
You're
is the
correct.
only culture that
I don't give a
shame.
damn about Christianity. It's only 2,000 years old. It's the only culture that,
I only said
come
that
on.
because you're the one that's bringing it up.
Okay, go ahead.
I
Go
Oh, yeah,
was
ahead.
let me get True. Hold on, y'all. Let me get True in there. He had his hand. Let me get True in there. Go ahead.
I was loving what Ikene was saying. My only pushback, and I think I echoed it before. I don't agree that a man in the presence of a woman, especially current day, and I think JR touched on it, we can't operate like everybody's meeting and getting married. If a man has time with a woman in any exchange, dating, courting, whatever you want to call it, I believe that that man should be instructing, guiding, if permitted, to show her other things, elevation. What I see a lot of times is kind of what you just said. A man feels like he can't impart until she's some level of significant player in his life. I think that's totally wrong because the landscape of how people meet nowadays does not always, connect to marriage or longevity like that. And a lot of times, because certain men think that way, they get to men like myself and others, and you're like, oh, you can tell you've never been around a man of structure, order, discipline because men feel like, oh, I can't say anything unless she's my wife. I think that's totally wrong. That's the only part I want to say, you know.
So
Would I
I
No,
would
just
I
true,
be
true,
able
true,
would
true,
I be
true.
able to
Let me
ask a
correct that
question?
real quick. True, that's not what I said. What I said is that you cannot be held responsible.
okay.
uh,
Yeah.
can I address
Okay.
something
My
that he
apologies.
said?
Would I be
I
able to ask a
Something
disagree.
that you
question?
I
say real quick.
disagree with Anthony on the thing about divorce. Look, divorce is a selfish act, just like suicide. It's selfish. It only helps the person who's did it. That's it. That's the only person that benefit. If I killed myself, it only benefit me, but it hurt everybody else around me. Just like divorce, it only benefit me, but it hurts everybody else around me. So now my kids are suffering. Now the person who I divorced from is suffering. Maybe the family is suffering from my divorce. So no, it's a selfish act, and I don't agree with it. It's saying it's okay. Man, there's a lot of carnage that comes from divorce, whether we want to admit it or not. Now, maybe people who have been through it, because if they say, "Oh, it's not that bad," no, it is bad. Especially personally, if you've been through it, you know what I mean. I'll leave it there.
You
Would
misunderstood
say
me
I would say
again.
you
Hold
could.
on,
You
hold on, you can,
misunderstood
hold on, you
Ink.
can, hold on, you can, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's go to CJ and one more other person. I got a clip I want to play, man. I don't want to spend too much on this.
If I
So
could
we'll
go
go
I
to
after
would
CJ
CJ, I
and then
appreciate
Mark.
it.
I would say for the most part, Hink is right about the divorce thing, but it can be beneficial to other parties involved. Like if it's a domestic situation, then the kids could benefit from the divorce as well. And to Hink's first point about the internet, he's right that women will say about how damaged they are on internet, but you work with these women and you would never tell about what's really going on in their household. But men are more willing to tell about what's going on in their real life than women are. I would say that.
May I interject? That is, I don't agree with that, CJ. Women are very vulnerable. Women are always talking about what they go through. Like that's
Mm,
no, hold on. Like, no,
That
sir.
that goes.
We get
Hold
on
on,
these
y'all.
apps all the time, and sometimes it's our way of
online, yes,
like.
online, but not in real
But I
life.
also think women are very vulnerable, and I also think we've come to a place, both men and women. We've maybe you can say we're both selfish, but women are vulnerable, and I think sometimes their vulnerability has been mishandled. I think vulnerability is a gift, but I think for you to say that it's like they're not.
What are you defining as vulnerability?
A vulnerability for me is I'm sharing information with you. I'm sharing pieces of you that I wouldn't otherwise. I'm trusting you.
With
Like
who? Who are you sharing all this information with, though?
it could be romantic, it can be platonic, it can be friendship. But if you're talking about in the romantic setting, I think women are vulnerable. And I think the reason that I don't know if you're referring to possibly that women are withholding it, but it's possibly been mishandled maybe a time or two and pretty bad. So that's why. So when you say men, are you saying men opening up more? Am I understanding that right?
I would say
I just want to make sure I understand.
women are good at telling the story in which they are the victim in the story. I think that's the way they show they victim or the vulnerability. But they not really. I don't think they tell the what's real about the story. Like King said, they don't really tell the truth. Or he didn't say this, but they don't really tell the truth about the story. They tell what parts that makes them a victim, and then they go online and say how damaged they are. But in real life, they don't really walk around as like they're damaged people. They walk around as if they're perfectly fine and normal and handy dandy. The people you work around,
We would
like
want,
maybe,
we would
and when you
want.
get close enough, they'll give you personal information, that close information. But for the people that's like in a vicinity,
Okay.
I don't think that's
This
happening.
is one time we should listen. She had a laundry list of things that she wished to say, so we should be able to consume her information rather than giving pushback. Kim, I'm sure there was more that you wished to impart on us. Could you continue so we could learn?
I didn't have a long history listed or long laundry list, and I didn't think he was quieting me, CJ. I didn't take it like that. I just simply say, as a woman who talks to women and being around other women, I think they are vulnerable. I think there's a lot of hurt. I know it's on men's side, but too from a woman, I think some of the vulnerability that's being held back is because it's been mishandled. I think what we're seeing, maybe social media, we shouldn't use social media as the bar, because we're just seeing clickbaits or parts where that's not true. If you talk to the average woman over coffee in an intimate setting, she will tell you the things that she was wrong. I hear women say the things that they wish they had done better. They do. Now maybe that's not been your experience, but I mean, I hear them say this all the absolute time.
Can I ask a
I just don't understand where we're
Hold on,
getting
y'all. Hold on.
that we're painting ourselves to be perfect, because we're not, like I'm telling you, we're not, unless, I mean, I have to
like the
concede to the
gender
point that you're a man.
Come on,
You gotta
son.
tell me.
Learn, son. Learn, son. Learn,
But
son. I'm finna
maybe
tell you
you're
something. I'm finna tell
maybe
you something, son. I'm sorry, Cam.
Oh no,
oh, go ahead.
OG, let her
Maybe your
finish.
experience,
You gonna
I
jump in.
do realize, CJ, that you experience women differently than me. I will give you that. I don't experience women the same way you do. But when I'm talking to them and I hear them, women are absolutely admitting that. And the reason I know that is because we make up a larger percent of the people who will go to a therapist.
Let's
I do.
ask
Okay,
Hold
men.
on,
can
hold on,
can
You
hold
know,
on,
men.
hold on,
Hold
y'all.
on.
Hold on. I do want to add this too, right? And I think we got to understand that we're speaking from our own experiences. And I've seen it. I've seen it the way CJ said it. I've seen the way Kim said it, and I've seen it multiple other ways. So I think we're gonna be going in circles. We're sitting here trying to say what this sex does or does not do this, and vice versa. I think we'll just be going in circles. It happens.
Can I ask just one question to
no
GR?
wait a minute,
I would like to
CJ,
Real quick,
ask.
Hold on.
OG,
CJ,
real
CJ,
quick.
Hold on.
CJ. I just want see. This is what I've been trying to tell you, son.
Stop
Sometimes
calling
you
me son,
okay,
bro.
but CJ did. All right. Well, you know, till you get that DNA test, you goddamn, I'm gonna call you son. I claim all mines. But anyway, look, CJ, just this simple. You say women don't do this, don't do that. You got a hot date going on Friday night. A woman calls you and tells you she's on her cycle. Are you listening, bro? You already don't planned it, but a cycle came earlier. See, these kind of little small, little micro things that happens in a relationship. You pushing back on that. You almost making her fault. You know, because you wanted to hit them bones, you wanted to hit them cheeks, and she told you she
No,
was on a
I'm
cycle.
listening.
But no, I know you're not really listening because you planted in your head from that moment. What else you gonna do? You ain't trying to go over there and give us some strawberry tea or nothing like that. You think about you just missed out on some cheeks.
Hey, but so
Wait, I wanted to
OG's
ask. Hold on, real
OG's
quick,
point
sis.
is, even though it's the extreme, I would give the pushback, and this goes back to what your original statement was in the conversation, CJ, is if they're sharing these things on social media, if they do tell you the whatever form of what their truth is, be it a lie or be it the truth, that's them showing vulnerability. And even in the way that they describe whatever it is that they experience, they're going to literally tell you subconsciously what the actual truth is in the story that they're giving you. So it's really paying attention to what it is that they're saying, and also what is it that they're not saying. Those
JR, can
those
I
are
ask?
those are two things that you really have to pay attention to.
All right, we're
I'm
gonna
gonna
go
I
to.
ask one
think
more
most
question, brother, and
I
I'm
think
done.
most women are extremely open and vulnerable to the situations and scenarios that they experience. It's all about how is it that you listen and interpret it to be whatever and what you do with it.
And CJ,
Hey,
we
go
can
ahead,
Can I
CJ.
go?
tell, if you don't want to hear us. Look, see, look at your face.
I'm
Like we
listening.
can,
I'm
I'm
listening
just
to
saying,
y'all.
like we can tell if you don't want to hear it. We can tell just by your body language, what you say, what you don't say, whether you're safe to be vulnerable either with. So just like you're not going to be vulnerable with me if I'm loud, if I'm rude, or if I'm just shut off, you're not. Women are doing the same thing. So to Viz's point, yeah, like we are super vulnerable. Like we are.
So I ask, all right, let me ask this one question. I know y'all watch a lot of panels and stuff. When y'all see the women get asked, what's one thing you did in a relationship that made it fail? They always say, I was too giving, I was too loving.
Oh,
And
CJ,
when you
that's not.
ask them, and then you ask them what happened, or you ask any woman you ever deal with, why did you end your last relationship? It's always the man's fault. It ain't. They're never given
And it's
situations where
vice versa
no,
for
it's not
men,
vice
bro.
versa, Viz. Stop
As
it,
any
brother.
man,
Stop
come on,
it
bro,
with
you
this
being
nonsense, brother.
disingenuous, bro.
I'm being honest.
Ask any one of your homies, the last chick that you was with, why did y'all break up? Oh man, that bitch she don't appreciate nothing. She don't appreciate me. She always complaining. She always asking for. It's the same thing, bro. That's human nature. It
Viz just
that
want to.
only. I'm just keeping it a buck here.
Men will keep
If
you
we
honest. Men will be honest. If they messed up a relationship, they will say, "Hey, I messed up a good thing, brother, and it was my fault." Women, 98% of the time, they're gonna say, "I was too giving. It was his fault." That's all they do. We all
CJ, when
see
was
it,
the last
brother.
time you told your girlfriend you were looking at
Oh
her
man,
friend? CJ, when was the last time you told your girlfriend you were looking at her friend?
I'm pleading the fifth, mother lover.
There we go. There we go.
All right, y'all.
I'm
We gotta get
pleading the
to
If I
Mark.
could jump
fifth.
in real quick, I
Go
just
ahead,
want
Mark.
to clarify one thing, and this is not opinion. I believe this to be fact, right? Deception is not at any time to be taken as a form of vulnerability. If you're lying, you're not being vulnerable. You're using vulnerability as a tool to create an expected end for yourself, which that could be sympathy, it could be empathy from whoever is the listener or the ear that is falling on, and that in turn is also a tool used for you to shirk and evade responsibility. So not at any time, if someone's telling a lie, should it be misconstrued as any form of vulnerability. It's a tool in order to evade responsibility. So I just want to put that out there. And also, when we're talking about whether people learn from mistakes, one thing I just want to interject: in our culture, we have a tendency, on male and female, both sides, we have a tendency that when there's a thing we want to perpetuate that we know is wrong, no one can ever learn from the mistake, because what we do is we advocate for that thing to become commonplace in our culture. And then it becomes accepted, and then it becomes acceptable, and it's no longer construed as a mistake. And therefore, we can continue to perpetuate it. So I just want to throw those nuggets in there.
Yeah, I think that's an important message, man. I had a conversation with somebody today, and I don't like when people want to have one-sided conversations or get a group of people that speaks the same message, because I don't even know how you're going to be able to grow if you can't bring opposite perspectives into one place and be able to sort out. I don't think you should be trying to see right or wrong. I just think just hearing another perspective for you to be able to process and see if it's valid, or you know, maybe I've been doing things incorrectly. Maybe it's something I could do better. If you can't listen to the opposing perspective, then I don't know how you can grow, because how are you measuring that? If everybody's coming together to speak on one message, how are you guys going to ever learn anything? Y'all just repeating the same things and chiming in is like a kumbaya moment. But if you can get some people that's coming to the panel, that's not looking to argue, that's looking to seek understanding, then I think you could probably get somewhere more than just bringing people together and only listening to those people. But let me go ahead and get to these. I know you want to go in, Viz, but let me just keep it moving. Earlier dedicated to my children future, gifted 5 Lapeef memberships. CJ, which is on the panel, 199, says true. JR Hink, pointing up, but be safe, brother. That was a question I had earlier. Hit the like button, y'all. I'm hearing the likes are down. What'd you say, CJ?
That was salute to True and salute to you, JR, and F you, Hink. But be safe, brother. But be safe.
No, I ain't know if that was a finger. What? You know, they do have a salute emoji though. That probably would have been a little bit more easier because that fingers.
I did do the salute emoji up there.
Oh,
there's 2 salute emojis in the fingers.
That wasn't a salute emoji, was it?
Yeah, with the salute emojis. Salute True, salute JR.
I was talking about gracefully trying to offer grace to the special needs. This is one of those moments we have to do that for them.
Yeah, this is a salute emoji right here.
Look at what the super chat I put up. Look at the super chat.
He's special, JR. To just pray for him. I'm a prayer warrior.
Now, if I'm wrong, I apologize, man.
No, he had both. He had both emojis in there.
Oh, he had both in there?
Yeah, he had both in there.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to start the conversation. No, I apologize, man, if you put the salute in there, man.
It's all right, brother. See, you trying to prove his point. You gonna prove his point in real time.
I'm still go back there when I introduce this topic, man. I'm curious.
Every time you talking to prove the point that you special needs, right on.
All right, let me go ahead and play this video. Here we go.
And I ain't trying to be funny here, but I'm saying, you said, hey man, I need 2-3 years to just kind of roll with me for 2 or 3 years, or just kind of see how it works out. What does that mean? There's no guarantee? I mean, what does that look like?
It has to be a test. I mean, you can't know somebody's character until you've experienced a lot of the seasons that come with life. How am I supposed to know you're a good person if we've never been through hardship together? How do I know that you're going to continue to fall in line with your commitment if there has not been time that has surpassed? So you can meet someone from on the outside, they appear to have good character, but character has to be tested. That's the only way you can prove that it exists.
Yeah, but Ryan, when you talk about seasons is a year. It's 4 seasons. I mean, what I mean is this. Okay, you don't know what she's going to be like when she has menopause.
Real quickly, man, I just want to get you guys opinion on that. Should we put women through tests?
Wait a minute. I think the solution to a lot of that, I don't know what he's going 3 and 4 years though, but if you usually see a fat little kid, you follow him home, there's usually a fat parent there somewhere. So my thing is, we get into the lady or the man so much, we don't get into the family. See, when you see a lady can hold things, but family can't hold things. You can read families. So if you get into her family, I think this is what is missing out in the dating scene, and maybe I'm just old-fashioned. We don't meet the family soon enough so we can tell the character of the person that we're about to get involved with. Usually when I see an ugly mother, I'm not trying to have kids. Well, I'll try to get with that woman. I'm just not, because I know that's what it's going to end up at. We're going to have some ugly kids. And me starting off halfway, and she ugly too. So I'm just saying we ain't going to be able to get it together on like that, regardless of who she is. I'm not having no more ugly kids. But anyway, but you understand what I'm saying. We don't invest into their families enough. We be looking at the thighs, the butt, the breasts, and all that. We don't see how all that stuff turns 60 years later. Why it might droop down and look like, a grapefruit in a sock or something. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is we got to be a little better in judging the character of the person due to the fact we can get a lot of that information from the family.
Anybody else want to chime in on this? Should we want to go through a test period?
I don't know about what Yeah, I
Right.
don't know about what OG said about that. Shame on you for getting with CJ's mammy, and now you got your ugly ass son up there now. But as far as putting women to test, yeah, you should
What you
put
say?
women in certain you should put women in certain situations and certain tests. I think that's a
What
must.
did you say?
And for a man who doesn't do that, hey, shame on you for her learning that tough lessons. Later on down the line. Look, pay attention to everything and every move that the woman makes. Pay attention how she operates and gets with her friends. If your woman is a drinker, figure out how she is and how she responds, how she carries herself when she is a little tipsy. All those things you need to pay attention to, because if you don't, you're gonna suffer later. Please believe you me. If she got into a fight with, like you said, OG, with one of the family members, please believe that fight's gonna come to you one day. How does she respond? How does she handles it? Is she's one who is willing to apologize when she is wrong in this disagreement or this situation, or she's the one going to hold it to the end? Yeah, those little things like that you need to pay attention to. All for certain scenarios. Do honor tests. See if she's an honorable type woman. Give her money and see if she could trust and make right decisions with the money, or she's gonna go out and get her goddamn nails and eyelashes done. Situations like that, you should always put a woman in, especially ones who you are really serious about.
And if I may add to the importance of knowing the family, because you have to understand who has influence over this individual. That might be the male or the female side. And if that influence is positive or if it's negative, I know in my personal experience in past relationships, families in certain scenarios had a negative impact. There were individuals who weren't even qualified to be given relationship advice and who had alternative agendas pertaining to myself and my past significant other, to where they wanted to see us fail for their own personal reasons. You got mothers that are jealous of their daughters. You got fathers that are jealous of their sons. You got a sister that's overweight over here failing in life, and the sister that you with is pretty and they mad about it. You got a crackhead uncle that's out here disseminating wild information. So it's very important that you meet that family, and a test period is very much needed nowadays, maybe not so far in previous civilizations and generations where everyone was pretty much held to the same standard and the people who violated were outliers. They weren't the norm. But today, everyone's violating. So a test period is necessary on both ends. You have to observe this individual. You don't have to let them know they're being tested, but to observe someone and their reality and how they're going to operate, what they're going to do with resources, how they respond to you in a disagreement, what they're doing when they think you're not watching. Very important.
And most people pick from their community. I want to put that in there. See, now we're dating way across seas, way across the country, or we meet somebody, we don't know nothing about their family. When I was coming up, it was community. People would pick. They know the father, they know the mother. They know things about the person they was dating. But now, how y'all have to date with this communication device, man, that OnlyFans could be hell.
Can I say something real quick? So I agree with the gentleman that we should test more, but the problem is men look for reasons to qualify women, and while women look for reasons to disqualify men. So we always looking for, hey, she speaks, she got a nice voice. That's a positive, so I'll qualify her. We always look for reasons to qualify women. When we go out, we say, hey, she got nice breasts, so I'll take it. And while the women do the opposite, so it's a difficult dynamic, you know.
CJ, that's a hell of a qualification list that you just named. Those two things are something that you don't look for in a wife or someone that you actually want to invest your time and energy into. That's somebody. If that's the case, just go. You know what I'm saying? Go find a prostitute on the street. You know what I'm saying? Or go on Backpage or whatever. Because those things are physical things that's not going to take you anywhere. Those are things that's going to fade. Just like Hink and OG stated, you want to and Mark, you want to pay attention to the things that actually matters
The
and that's
best.
actually valuable.
You too focused
But
on the you too focused on the examples I gave instead of the point I was making. The point is that we look for reasons to qualify women, while women
we're
look for
as men, we're supposed to qualify the woman. If there's no reason for you to go out or even again invest your time into someone that you don't feel is qualified for the very time that you have.
We would qualify them for the simplest things. They even had to put in it. Go ahead, True, because he gonna just
but
make it
my
real simple.
my point to that is that that's a small way to think, to qualify a woman off of
And
those
this is just the
values.
reality, Biz. I'm not talking about what should be.
Even if it
I'm
is
talking
the
about reality.
reality,
Reality is men qualify women for the smallest things. Men look to qualify women. Women look to disqualify men.
right? So my point is that if that is what society is doing, then we as men have to stop doing that. That's all that I'm pointing out. So
That
if you're
might be
saying
true.
that that's what men are doing, I'm saying men stop doing that. That's stupid.
That
You're
ain't gonna,
you're setting yourself up for
that ain't
failure.
gonna work, Biz.
Oh no, Viz, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Yes,
It's
that
never
ain't
Oh
gonna
that.
yeah,
That
work.
is nature.
I think True was trying to come
It's
in, y'all.
nature.
I think True was trying to come in. Go ahead, True.
No, I get. I've heard the talking points. I know what CJ is saying. On a surface level, the male species is trying to qualify. They're trying to make room for this woman in some way, shape, or form. I think words are important. There is a maturation that comes with the title of man. Being a man. I believe most men can understand that, because we go from being young boys to developing into men. I don't think men are looking to qualify. I think men are looking to vet. I think men are looking to observe what this woman is truly bringing. And as a man, if you subscribe to being a man, I don't know if you have to test that woman as much as you have to expose her to elements of your life, give her time to show her true value. Clearly you're attracted to her. That's why you're interacting with her.
It's a test.
But I think a man, in my opinion, you dealt with females, women for so long, breasts, hips, thighs, pretty smile, that comes standard. You want to know what's between her ears. You want to know the character of her spirit, her heart. You want to know what she subscribes to. If you're really looking to, to test, vet, whatever term you would like to use.
All right, go ahead, Kim.
True. Oh, sorry, Kim. Go
We
ahead.
go to Kim, then we go to Mark.
I absolutely love the word vet. I don't want to be tested. I'm so jealous of my grandparents. She wasn't tested. She was vetted, gentlemen. But like, I mean, she wasn't like, they got married and, married 60 something years. I just say that to say, there's a lot that y'all can see the older we get. You don't have to test us, right? I don't believe, just vet us. You're going to see a lot up front of what y'all like and want, whatever it is that you want individually, the way we talk, what we do for work, how we talk to other people, how we carry ourselves, how we dress. You'll look at that, pretty big. What we believe in. Those things are that will disqualify a lot of us. Testing, that makes it seem like I hate to say it seems like you're going to waste some time. You're going to waste some time because you're testing me to see, like, I know you're trying to see if I can make it through the hoops, but why can't we just get to know each other and experience and grow through it? The test, I don't agree with that. Maybe I'm just being sensitive to the test versus vet. But a lot of people got married back in the day. They weren't tested and they worked through things. Did they not?
How do you know that? How do you know the test that they
May
were
I
put through?
just say this real quick?
Wait.
Hold
Shout out
on.
real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Hold on, CJ. Let's go to
Yeah.
get Mark in there.
Right.
Just real fast, like, can we make room for the fact that, make room for the idea that, I don't know how old this young brother CJ is, his generation and his age group is likely prioritizing physicality over deeper substance than someone maybe in my age group, late 30s, 40s, things of that nature. So hold on, brother, I'm actually speaking on your behalf. 1 second. So when you say you're qualifying or disqualifying an individual, can you hear me? Okay, so when you say you're disqualifying or qualifying an individual, yes, men and women do the same thing. We do want to qualify someone that we like, that we want to be with, that we might be physically attracted to, someone that checked a few of those boxes that initially piqued our interest to want to pursue that individual. So what the young brother is saying, while he maybe didn't say it in a way that we want to accept it, he's not absolutely wrong. There is a component that is injected into any relationship that when I want to pursue an individual, I'm looking to qualify them more than disqualify them, because this is the person I want to pursue. Now, as you come across things that disqualify them, that's going to lead to whether or not the relationship is a go or if it's a dead stop. But you are looking to qualify because you're interested and that's what you want. You're hoping that this works out. So the thing that you want, you can actually obtain. And that goes for anything in life. That's not just relationships. That's a job. That's a business that you want to run. That thing that you're after, that shiny object syndrome. You want to qualify that this pursuit makes sense so you can obtain what it is that you want.
Now, would it be fair
That's
for me
fair.
also, sorry, would it also be fair for
As
me to
far as
ask or just assume,
what Kim was
Hold on,
saying,
hold on.
I'll go ahead.
sorry, would it also be fair for me to assume that maybe men want to test more because of the divorce rate, just being so?
I think men take damage, relationship damage way more. Well, I can't speak for women, but we take it hard. We take it tough when we really love and when we really want a thing and we don't get that thing. It's something that's tough. It's hard to overcome. So the testing thing is not only a vetting process, but it's also a mechanism to defend against failure. It's not something we want to experience.
So is it more necessary now?
I'm sorry?
Sorry, so is testing, you're saying, more necessary now than it was maybe previously?
I believe it was because in civilizations past, again, people were held to a specific standard, and those who violated were the outliers. They weren't the norm. So yes, right now, where everyone is violating constantly, 100%, 90% of the time, people are violating. They're in violation, male and female. We need to be vetting. It's extremely important. It's necessary. And if you don't do it, you are a fool. Point blank, period. And you are destined to fail.
Thank you for acknowledging both sides.
I don't know if it's my time to speak.
As far as what it's not your time. Just hold on, Nick. So as far as what Ken was saying and talking about, you don't have to test. No, that's the reason why we have to test you, ladies, because this is not the days of yesteryear, like you said, your grandfather. No, because your grandfather probably knew your grandmother's family. Like OG was talking about, he knew your lineage. He knows where you come from. He knew you come from good stock. These heifers nowadays don't come from good stock. So now it's a must that we put it out there. I done seen a woman who comes from a drug addict family end up being a good woman. But I've seen some good women a woman who's not good come from a good wholesome family. But she wasn't tested, and the guys didn't realize what he was getting into because he never tested her. You have to test these women in 2025 because of what how they move and how they act. You ladies put on a better front nowadays than they used to do back in the yesteryears. Y'all put on the facades. So now we got to get through that bullshit. We got to peel back the layers of this onion to make sure you're good to the core. So yes, it's a must for men in 2025 to test a woman.
I think that testing.
I'm coming to you, Ikene. I'm going to say this one thing. I think it's very important that we really try to listen for the message and not necessarily a word, because sometimes we pay attention to the word test and vetting. I think it's the same thing. And even if you ask somebody what testing and vetting is, it's still something that's different. I think the whole point of us saying this is that we need to make sure that before we invest our seeds, our time and energy within someone for a lifetime, that we have to take them through a process. And that process is going to look different from everyone. So whether we use testing or vetting, it's still a process that they have to go through. And I think that a lot of people don't have to spend too much time in that process, especially when we get older. When you get younger, you just never know. It's a wild card. But I think people are who they are. They know what they want for the most part, or they're going to present themselves to be whoever they're going to be when you up there in age. But let's go to Ikene, and then I think Chu had his hand up.
Yeah, get out of here, JR.
The definition of testing and the definition of vetting are two different things in culture. The reason why I said so is because in culture, you have to vet a woman. This is the definition of vetting. You know her family, you know where she's coming from, you know her mother, you know her father. That's why people marry within their community. When you go outside your community, you're looking for trouble. You don't know them. You don't know what they do. They might be against, their culture might be against your culture. But what happens is this. You have to know her friends. You have to know who she rolls with, who she works with, who she does things with. Those are vetting process. When it comes to testing, that is where we get it wrong. This generation, both men and women test the other one by themselves. You're not supposed to test who you're getting married to. That is to your mother or the women in your family. She has to come to your house. This is how it's done in culture. She comes to your house, she sleeps for a day. That's your parents' house. She sleeps for a week or two. They check what she does. Can she cook? Can she clean? Does she have a good hygiene? Those are things that she has to display living with your parents for up to a month. That's how it's done in culture. Then she's qualified to be a mom, but to be a wife, according to your mom or according to the women in your family. They will qualify her, they will put her through that test. You, as a man, you don't have what it takes to test a woman. We don't, as men. It's not our place to test a woman. It's our parents' place to test a woman. It's us and our parents to vet her, to go and find out about her family. I rest my case.
Then we
All
need to
right,
make
go
it
ahead.
both ways. Then women would need to get their dads, if they don't have a dad, grandpa, uncle, brothers, to do the same thing to vet y'all. So that would cut out a lot of nonsense also, because then they could tell
That's
you like
correct. That's correct.
they could say absolutely not. He doesn't have basic skills. He's not whatever it is that the men would say. And I would, if I had faith in them, which I would. And he told me this, nope, this is not the one. So it needs to go both ways, because you're not the only one in this marriage. Absolutely not. And I'm also, because then if something goes wrong, the first thing that's going to come back to me as a woman, well, you allowed him. You had his baby. You married. Nope, nope, nope. So you're correct. It needs to go both ways. So if you need to know if I can cook, I need to know if you have some basic skills too. You're not going to leave me out in the wild. Absolutely not.
And
Nah,
that's the way it's always been. But y'all, this new generation got some other shit they have to worry about too. You got to worry about it. Was she born as a woman? You know, was she born as he born as a man? Y'all got a lot of stuff y'all got to put up with now. There's some hey, look, there's some deceptions out there, and if you ain't got a keen eye, you be wondering why your wife can't have no baby. So y'all got some shit that y'all had to put up with in the new generation. So y'all got to be a bit very wise and by finding out about the family, because you go to the family on Christmas and everybody laughing at your ass. You better figure out why they laughing at you.
go ahead, True.
Yeah, no, I think all of us are saying valuable things in conjunction. The reason why I hyper focus on the word vetting and testing is because I think we need to draw a difference. A test can be something singular. I know most of us probably seen that movie A Bronx Tale, when he was like, if she don't unlock and reach across to unlock the door to let you in after you let her in, that's a test in my opinion. But that's singular. In a vetting aspect, it needs to be a multitude of testing. It needs to be things that are occurring, episodes. You're exposing her to your family, your friends, your work balance, your schedule, a season, a year, like the gentleman said on the video. So in the vetting process, there will be tests. And
So you just spun the block and agreed with the point that they're synonyms.
well, I think that if I'm not mistaken, I think JR was saying don't get caught up on the words. And I think that we have a position to maybe expound upon it, because some people, unfortunately, they'll hear test and they'll think she did this one thing great. This qualifies her as a good woman. No, I think you need to give her time. That's what I.
Okay, so
I think the reason you can use them interchangeably, if I may interject, is just because both are processes of testing one's aptitude for the position they're applying for. So if I take a state mandated test or a series of tests, I'm still being vetted at that particular moment. So I may take I don't know, I'm from Connecticut mastery test to see if I can matriculate to the 6th grade. That's still fine, but it is a part of a vetting process. So if we can just agree that they could be used interchangeably, I think it'll alleviate a lot of confusion. I don't think a delineation is necessarily expedient at the moment, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah. I got.
Hold on, real quick. Let me check in with OTC. You there? All right.
Well,
What's going on, bro? What you got for us?
I just wanted to say, man, like I'm all for the black woman and the black man getting back together, but it's like, especially when it comes to me in particular, and I hear this a lot. A lot of dudes saying, "Oh, well, dudes don't take accountability." I agree with that, but at the same time, it's like, it's a lot of dudes out here that they're not even capable of communicating what they're actually doing for a woman. Like dudes will be out here actually helping a woman pay bills, actually helping her when her car breaks down. And he's not saying a damn thing to nobody about it. And when she breaks up with him and tells everybody, oh, he did this to me, he was a fucked up person, but he wasn't talking to everybody. He thought he was just trying to get through his relationship. This is the advantages that women have on the perception of relationship in the first place. Because some dudes aren't as vocal. They're not willing to just go out and talk to everybody. Hey, my girl's going acting like this. But a woman will easily go to her friends, be like, oh, he did this, it made me feel like this, and all of a sudden her man don't look like shit. And I feel like when we don't acknowledge these dynamics, it's not genuine to us trying to fix what's going on. You see what I'm saying?
Well, OTC, to that point, that's a very fair point, right? But the harsh reality and the double standard that some men won't agree with or won't accept is that that's what comes with being a man. There's some things that you just can't complain, like complain
That's the problem.
com, complaining about that. What does complaining about that get you? It gets you nothing, right? If you want a cookie, all right, good, we'll give you a cookie for, for taking care, for choosing to take care of a woman that you chose. You know what I'm saying? So I would say, if you're not married to the woman, you shouldn't be paying bills and doing all the other stuff that you were just saying in the first place. That already eliminates that whole thing. So
As soon as
everything else that comes with courting a woman that you presume to be into you or you're in a relationship with, that all comes with the territory. So
okay,
I don't think that that's
I hear
necessary.
what you're saying, but this is my thing. Like, what men are out here trying to find their wives, right? Because this is the thing. A lot of dudes have more money than me to be able to do these things. But guess what? You know what I'm hearing a lot from a lot of dudes? They're not getting sex. So it doesn't when I'm listening to dudes that's in marriages, or I'm listening to dudes that's been with their girl for years and he's telling me about how, oh, she got mad, I'm definitely not getting no sex. Or a nigga, I'm going out and one of my homeboys I know has a girl, but he's trying to mess with the girls too because he's having problems with his girl. It's like it's very disingenuous what's really going on when we having these conversations, because I've been with women that were cheating on their man and their man was calling them, checking up on them. So all of these relationships ain't breaking up because the man is
Otis,
just this bad person and he's not responsible and he did this, he did that. Some of these girls just having their way and it's like it's not being talked about. Is it a complaint? Or is it something that needs to be spoken on when men are finding out that their kids are not theirs at 40,
OTC,
50 years old?
OTC.
wait, Kenny, let me
I
ask you
got
a question real quick.
okay.
So OTC, you just kind of admitted that you were part of the problem.
It's damaged.
All right, I'm listening. Let's go. Get it.
No,
Spin it.
I'm not taking shots at you. You said you actively entertained women that were broken. So, and then you came up with the dynamic as for men paying bills for women that they're not cleaved to. Back to the courting. Thanks for spinning the block, Viz. Because men, if you court women, you will eventually have to spend. No ifs, ands, or maybes. As for courting,
Well,
you
for
rent
sure, but
out,
he said paying. He said paying bills. That was
okay,
something that he said specifically. I was
okay,
just
but
addressing that.
but you'll be spending. And as for bills, you know, a lot of men say they ain't gonna do it, but if they really into a woman and they're not married and they see a deficiency, they're gonna take care of it just to make a better show and step forward with that
Wo-
woman to
Once
show that
again,
they're capable of
that's that
taking
man's
care of that woman.
choice. That's
Huh?
that, and that's that man's choice.
Okay,
That's my
so
point. So it's to me, it just sounded like I want a pity party for a decision that I made to invest into this woman, and
okay, it
because
goes
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, it goes back to my original point. There's no place for men to cry. Men have to be stoic all the time because a man can't, as OTC came up here and said, I could be quiet, and he may be talking to his own personal testimony. As for me taking care of a woman and doing the things, and I'm moving in silence, then I fatten up a frog so a snake could eat. And most men, there's a good bunch of men that fell in that position, As for doing what they said, you know, the other parts, that's a whole different episode. But as for vetting a woman, which was the original question, testing, that is all the same thing. A woman accrues her greatest value, like I said before, between ages 18 and 35. They get chose. Men have to accrue their value over time. I'm going to be shooting in the gym. I'm going to live in California. Let's use that, for instance. And I'm going to have you show representation for 2 years, then say you tired of me and get half of mine. Okay. Not every woman does it. But what is broadcast in the last couple months? Aisha Howard. You know, the kid Anthony Edwards. He want to go pay that $1.8 million to get rid of that problem. Drea. You have a son that's 22. You went go drop the egg on a 22-year-old because you want that bag. That's a big representation. Akima Rose, Zion Williams' baby mother. He's giving her $107,000 in allowance because she came out and said, "I eat your butt, and I'll tell more." Vetting,
I
testing.
gotta say,
But
I gotta say,
most of these men didn't have to wait a minute. Most of these men didn't have to vet. They already know they had strippers and prostitutes and people sliding down the pole. So there was nothing to vet.
God,
So
no, like, come on, man.
no, let's just be honest now.
No,
Let's be honest.
I'm with you, OG.
Okay, so let's be
speak
honest
wisdom,
now.
OG. Speak wisdom.
Yeah. And so what I'm saying is, some things you get off the bat. All right. Why you keep going to you want chicken? Why you keep going to a fish restaurant and saying why y'all not cooking chicken right? So I don't understand this because a lot of you go out there and just like what CJ was saying, you looking at body parts. All right, you think you're the only man looking at them body parts? You think that woman don't know men's are looking at that body part? One thing I know from having 11 sisters, women make adjustment when they leave the house. They get in the mirror. They know what is exposed in every direction. So what I'm saying is we as men who are out there on the hunt, if you end up with a deer that weighs 65 pounds versus the one over there weighs 125 pounds, you shot that skinny ass deer. You could have shot the one you want.
Love your analogies.
Hey, OG, I'm so glad you brought that because I wanted to bring that back around, and even since Mark is here, because he'll piggyback off CJ, and I get the point that he was trying to make. My whole thing is I'm not even going to attempt to qualify you if I'm not attracted to you. What's the point? There's no, oh, she's soft, oh, she has some nice titties, some thighs, whatever. That's the given for me to even consider to qualify her. That was my point. What's happening in those cases is if that's the first thing that comes to mind that you say out loud, then your standards, in my opinion, are low. You're going for what you see that's quick and easy, something that you know is on Instagram. You can scroll and you see it all day, every day. Compared to this woman already checks all the boxes that I would even consider before I even attempt to qualify this woman.
But
for me to invest my time into it.
Can I say this, bro? I think a lot of times, especially with brothers like yourself, who seem very polished, put together, and understand yourself and very grounded, I think you're negating the fact that you had to come to the knowledge of yourself. And you're not giving grace for these young men out here who have maybe not come to the knowledge of oneself or how they should be, or didn't have someone coaching them, or didn't grow up with a father, or go through whatever, metamorphosis they had to go through in order to become this polished individual that we see sitting before us today. So when you don't give that grace, and I don't want to use the word judge, but when you look at them from a standpoint of you should already know this, well, no, that's not true. They don't already know it because they out here tripping over their feet, and they making these mistakes because the society has said that these things are acceptable, and they have to be taught that this is not acceptable, brother. Your standards are here, but they really should be here. This is what you should be looking for, not what you're looking for down here. This is why you made this mistake, because you were looking for this when you should have been shooting for this. Is that agreeable?
No, and
No, it's
that's
not.
and
It's
that's
not. It's
and
not.
that's why I
It's not
made
agree.
and that's
It's not
wait,
agreeable.
hold on. And
Uh,
that's why I made the point that
Vince,
I
you gotta
did.
let other people speak, Vince,
Bro, I
man.
know you're
Oh,
not
go
finished,
ahead. Go
man.
ahead.
Come on now. But I just started talking. I've been
Go
quiet
ahead,
this whole
Vince. Go ahead,
time trying
Vince.
to go back to it.
Go ahead, Vince. Your
Again,
floor.
again, I understand your point. The thing is that when I wasn't as polished or grounded in myself, there was an older man that told me the same exact thing. And I saw how they carried themselves. So I can only tell him what it is that I know and give it to him the way that it appears that he will understand it, right? Because I could word it differently, but he may not understand it. Or if he just intentionally chooses to refute what it is that I'm saying, going back to the whole topic of the conversation. So if I'm saying, hey, not well, no, man, that those shouldn't even be the first qualifications that you're looking for or thinking to qualify the woman on. It should be this and this and this, much rather than the things that will fade away, the things that it matters, but you should be already past that part before you even consider investing your time into the woman. That's all
And
that I'm
I
saying.
agree with you, brother. But what I'm saying is when you write someone off as a complainer initially, without understanding how they got to the point where they thought what they experienced was acceptable to even have to go through that. The whole subject is talking about learning from mistakes, right? Someone, somewhere in their mind, they thought that was acceptable. They accepted it, and therefore they had to go through that experience. And therein lies the problem. So when you write it off as a complaint, instead of trying to understand where people are coming from, and I'm not saying we have time to do that. That's not what this panel is for, and I understand that. But I'm saying, and that's why the brother Kenny said, look, men have nowhere to cry. Because when you bring a grievance, it's seen as a complaint, and you're immediately written off by, men who might be more stoic, more polished, and more grounded. But we got to give grace and understand, how are these people getting to this? How did this epidemic happen? It's an epidemic out here, and these young brothers are experiencing this. It seems in perpetuity. They can't even get out of it. And I want to, and I want to just give grace to these young brothers and say, I understand how you got there. We don't have time to dive in it, but I'm not going to write you off as just a complainer, because I understand that the only way you could get there is by either ignoring the guidance you were given or not having it at all.
So and I 100% agree with you. I get everything you're saying. Now the thing is that I'm not writing them off. I never said that I'm writing them off. Did I say that he was complaining? Absolutely. So even then again, if I'm if I'm older than him, right? I'm going to I'm gonna address the situation in the way that I think fit in the way that I teach, right? So if with me hearing what he says, okay, yeah, everything that you stated, I understand. I get the investment. However, that is a part of what comes with being a man. That's what comes with being a man in a relationship. So when you begin to complain about it, and then you have other people that pacify the complaints, I think that causes more disservice to the total picture, and where more men will continue to experience it compared to us trying to correct it in advance or in that moment.
I
Okay,
mean, I
so
think
Can
we'll
I
I think
speak on?
we'll
I just
agree.
want to speak
I'm
real
a land
fast.
real. I'm a land real fast, brother. I think we'll agree to disagree, but we're saying the same thing in a different way. We want the outcome of
For
these young
sure.
brothers not
For sure.
experiencing this anymore, right? And I think we agree there, but I think we disagree
The
in
approach
the
is different.
the,
That's
the
all.
approach is different. So
That's all.
like,
That's all. The
to
approach is
me,
different.
to me, the word, and it's not a feeling. The word complaint is dismissive. When you bring a grievance to the table, that grievance should be addressed, and knowledge and wisdom should be dropped on that grievance so it's no longer experienced. And then you put the ball in OTC and CJ and all these other young brothers' court and say, look, bro, you got the game. Now it's either you use the game or play yourself. Now the next time you come back and say it happened to you again, now you complaining, and I don't want to hear it no more.
So you saying that no other man has ever told him that?
I'm making
OTC
that
has any?
assumption. I don't know OTC personally. I'm just assuming the young generation as a whole. There's
Well,
a
can
component.
OTC
That's
speak
There's a
for
that's fair.
herself real
I don't know
fast?
who Mike that is. There's a component that's missing there
And can
of
they
knowledge
mute?
and wisdom, in my opinion. That's all I'm saying. And I don't want to speak for that young man. He could speak for himself.
Yeah, go ahead, OTC. I think he wanted to respond. He was asking, can you respond? Go ahead, OTC.
Yeah, I just wanted to say when I bring up the examples of, you know, men taking care of women by paying their bills and doing things like that, I bring up that example specifically because there is an agreed upon thought in society that a man provides, a man protects. So I didn't bring up those things to try to shame anybody or even bring it up in a negative light. This is what a man is required to do, like you said. So what I'm looking at is what is benefiting the man in this situation. Now, if we said protect and provide and falls under the man, right? Because this is the thing. I love women. I've been with a lot of women, but there's a lot of things. You're talking about complaints that these complaints kill men. Men kill themselves, they die, all right? And you're talking about, oh, it's a complaint. So like I was saying about protecting and providing, like specifically my issues when I talk about how a woman acts, have you ever been in a situation where a man got into an argument and a woman was there and she hyped it up and then he actually did something that he probably would not have done unless the woman would have been on the outside saying, oh yeah, get him. He disrespected you. He should. Have you ever been around a situation like that?
Basketball games usually happens when
I gotta
women's
say
around.
this.
Hold
I
on,
gotta
y'all.
say.
Wait, so
Hold on,
wait.
hold on, hold
I
on,
just
hold
want to
on.
get clear on perspective because I want to make sure that we've experienced the same things when we talk, right? So we
Well,
know that women can be a catalyst to damage and somebody being harmed. Now, if you get with a woman and the simple things from just, oh, you got to watch how you talk, or she's disrespecting you in front of other men, that can lead to you having a problem with other men. That can lead to deadly situations. So when a man is coming to the table and saying, hey, baby girl, I want you to follow and lead me, and you got to speak a certain way and it's looked at as controlling, or do you fit this narrative or this
OTC.
role that she should be doing it? The
Hold on.
reality of it is
Let
she's supposed
Yeah,
to
yeah,
do
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
because
him finish. I can.
yeah, let me
It's
finish.
asking the same. It's asking the same question over and over again.
He didn't make
Let's
the
cut this
question.
thing
He made
short.
the.
I got a question for OTC. OTC. My question is for you. This is my question for you. If you're dealing with a woman that you know that is problematic, right? Why you keep dealing with the same woman if she's problematic? And you've already established that she's problematic. You have already established that she can cause trouble between you and other men. Why are you still dealing with the same woman?
see, and that's the problem. That's a great question. Now let's dive into it. A lot of women that I've spoken with and I've had relationships with, they're not, the first thing they're coming out their mouth is not, oh, I got a husband, oh, I got a boyfriend. You would think that's the first thing a lot of these women would mention, but no, these women are going to the clubs, they're going out to events, they're going out and traveling, they're not wearing their marriage ring. So that takes all motherfucking account. How the
Well,
fuck I'ma know if she done
But
tell
when
me, oh,
you
she
but
might
when
not
you
know?
hey,
So
discover
right
hey,
now
when
you're
you
being
discover
disingenuous.
I haven't finished, guys. Please, man, you guys ask for the question. Let me finish, brother. When you discover that that woman has a husband or has a boyfriend, why do you keep entertaining the same woman?
Aha, but I never said that I did. You assume. You see?
No. You said no,
You
no,
assume.
because it
I
seems like
never said that I stay.
you are attracting the same
I've
thing
never
and
said
keeping
that.
the same thing and dealing with the same kind of women.
He
You
No,
attract
corrected
this
it.
is,
women with
but this is
husband.
my,
He
no, it
corrected
joins
it.
all to my overall point that many women have these same characteristics. I don't stay, but I've dealt with over 100 women. I know how a lot of women act, and a lot of women are selfish. A lot of women tend to not listen when they get in their emotions. And if you deal with women, like this is common knowledge. Like even the women that's supposed to be supposedly doing on their boss thing, they have attitude issues. They can be childish at times. This is common knowledge if you deal with women. So it's funny to me how we get online and then it's all of a sudden, oh, women are boss babes and this and that. Like
I
from
don't.
my standpoint, I don't think that's protecting women by trying to put them
We
in this
don't call
pedestal
women.
like you can.
We don't honor women like that on this show. We
Yeah,
always there's a reason why we deal with a lot of women here and we deal with them squarely, and some of them never come back because we don't give them that opportunity. We don't give them that
But you
chance to be
are.
boss babes. No, we don't. You might say that some
But you
of
are by
men
saying that
here.
the man has by telling the man that it's his fault if his
No, that's
woman
not
does
what we
not
said.
act right. You are putting
That's
her
not what.
But
you
it
are putting
That's
her on a pedestal
that.
because she has to be in control of
No.
her
That is
own
not what we
behavior.
said. That
but
You
is
are
not what I said. What
automatically
I'm.
directly putting her on a
Viz. Let
pedestal.
me finish with the
Everybody is
guy,
control
please,
of their
Viz.
own behavior.
What I'm trying. What I've been saying and what we've been saying here is this: you cannot entertain, you cannot keep such woman or said woman. We've been saying that all day. You have, that's why I said earlier that you got to divorce. Divorce is not bad. Divorce is not to be shamed. You're not supposed to be shamed for divorcing a woman. When you know that the woman's attitude and character goes contrary to your established rules, you got to let her go. I didn't say that men should get divorced because it's fun to have divorce, or you got to destroy your children if you divorce a woman. No, you got to stop that thing before it gets worse. You got to let her go. You can't entertain her. That is why I don't follow the Christian religion, because Christian religion say keep dealing with the bullshit. I'm like, no, I'm not dealing with the bullshit. I got to let that bullshit go. You got to not feed a cancer with sugar. If you got cancer, you cut off the sugar. You see what I'm saying? Cut off the
oh,
sugar and go see a doctor. You cannot keep entertaining the same woman that is giving you headache. You can't let that continue. That means you divorcing her, you getting rid of her from your presence is the punishment, the legal punishment that you can meet on her is to let her know that you're rejecting her. So she
all right.
got to go and
This
deal
shouldn't
with
even
herself.
a woman like that shouldn't even make it to marriage. Like that's the part I don't understand. Like y'all, there's no way, OTC, to your example, there's no way that I would even deal with a woman that I know is going to put a battery in my back in a time for me that I can potentially crash out.
Hey,
And there's
Viz.
no that, like, that's so counterproductive.
Viz, you
And you will
missing.
also see
That's
that
most dudes women though,
you
bro.
that's not
We're
most
talking
women,
about.
bro. That's the women that you're choosing. That's the women
OTC,
that
one
you
second.
associate
Let me get
yourself
her.
with. We
So all these okay, my fault. Go ahead.
let's
I'm
just
like,
keep it a buck here.
okay.
Women that actually care about you, women that's not running the streets, women that care about you, they appreciate who you are, they're investing into you. They're not going to put a battery into your back for you to crash out, because they know what comes with that. So in that case, if you do have a woman that doesn't know how to act in public, that's all loud, whatever, then that is your fault, because you specifically chose that woman knowing that these were characteristics that she has. I don't understand why we're making that so difficult to
Hey, Viz,
understand.
1 second. You missing
So
something.
all right, so let's just
Or-
attack your premise because you said that's not most women. I just want to attack that premise real fast. So are you saying that overwhelming majority of women in society have great behavior in public? Is that what you're asserting? Because you
over
said that when I said that a lot of women don't, hold the characteristics or have the actual maturity to contain themselves or act correctly in public settings constantly over and over, like repeatedly. You
Yeah,
you acted like that was like a erroneous statement when this is what's on all over social media. Women acting a fool in public.
it's over
And
social
it's not
media,
just
but
black women,
are
so
you
don't
going
don't do don't do the
but
black women thing because it's
are you
white
going
women,
Viz, one
all
outside?
women.
second.
You
Viz, you missing something.
you're
Yo,
basing it off of
OTC,
social media.
real
That,
quick,
like,
real
It's
quick,
not
you
Viz.
have
so
to
are
you
you
have to
telling me
go
that social media?
you have to go outside, bro, and go into spaces
Viz, one
where
second.
Bro,
You
I have a
missing
regular women
job.
something.
aren't.
I worked at different
OTC,
industries.
could
People
I
are
talk
having
to you for a
relationships in the
second?
job. So you're telling me
OTC,
people aren't having relationships in the job and it's not messy?
OTC, can I
A
talk
That's
to you
job
for a
life,
or a
bro.
second?
career?
Hold on, man.
Hold
We
on,
over
Viz.
talking. Hold on, y'all. I think
I
we
mean,
want to ask
This
him
is not
something.
genuine. This is not a genuine convo.
Hold on,
Real
y'all.
quick,
no, it is being genuine.
Hold
You
on, Viz. Hold on, Viz. Kenny want to ask him something real quick. Go ahead, Kenny.
OTC.
Yeah.
Give me your eyes.
I hear you, man. I'm
You
smoking. I'm
going
trying to
through
respect the
something?
platform.
Okay, brother, you going through something with a
You got to
female
maintain eye
heartbreak?
contact with him, OTC.
Okay, Kenny,
OTC
I
maintain eye
need, I
contact.
need, I need this time, brother. You going through something with a woman right now, and I just need you to keep it a buck with me.
Nope.
You sure?
Nope. I'm not talking to no women right now. The last woman that I was dealing with, taking her, like, trying to see where her potential was at, she fucked that up.
How long ago was that?
That was like a year ago.
You still feeling it?
I still feel, I still feel it, because it's like people talking shit about it. So I find myself having to defend myself a lot, because I look like the piece of shit, I guess.
She's still in you still feel that in your chest, don't you? When you think about her, be honest with me.
Any woman that I dealt with, I
No,
care about, bro.
no.
Any
It's
woman
me.
that I dealt
I
with, I
done
care
told
about,
everything
bro.
about myself up here. I know those eyes. So you still going through it, ain't you? And I'm not making
No,
fun of
bro.
you. This is an older brother talking to a younger one.
I just got off work at 6 o'clock in the morning, bro, and then I went to sleep. I probably didn't get enough
Okay, let's
sleep.
stay on the
I promise
subject. Your brother, I got you. You came up, you heard the topic. It touched on something that you dealing with that you still ain't let go. I know it well, and I'm not making fun of you. I'm glad you up here. You in the right place. Shed it. Let it go, because it's gonna hold you back. You can't hide me with the eyes. I see who you are, because I mirror that. You's a good
You
brother.
might see I'm tired. That's what you see. I've been
Okay, I
through a
want you
lot.
to challenge yourself to do this. Get Jason Wilson's book, The Man. What is it? The Man's his last book, The Moment Demands.
Yeah, the moment the man calls or something like that, or demands.
And I need you, when you go home, brother, go look in the mirror and take 60 seconds and tell yourself you love yourself.
No question.
I do it every morning, because I eat my own cooking. And I'm just gonna say this: I love you, brother, for coming up here.
Yeah, I love you too, fam. It's all love, man. I come with respect first. Other people would say I'm an asshole.
No, I see what they don't.
Yeah, no,
I
I mean,
digress, yeah.
I wouldn't consider you to be an asshole, but I think that it places a limitation on you finding the very woman that you want when you say that the majority, that overwhelming majority of women are out here that are the ones that you don't want. When you think from a lack perspective, all you will continue to receive is lack. The very
But you're
things
not
that you
hearing
don't.
me. That's not what I'm saying, though.
That is what you're saying.
OTC,
How
you
you gonna
gotta
tell
let
me
him
what I'm
cook.
saying, bro?
Okay,
Let
once
him
y'all let
cook,
him.
bro.
Okay,
Yeah,
once y'all let him say what he want, but go ahead, finish Viz, and then OTC. If you don't agree, I want to add to it. Then I want you to go ahead and speak yours.
the where I'm coming from with this conversation or with this statement is what it is that you said when you first got on the panel. When you first got on the panel, you even brought up what men going through divorce are feeling, and so on and so forth. You haven't even felt that. You haven't been
You
married.
missed the other parts, Viz. He said more than that.
I understand that, but I'm using the context of what it is that he said out of his own mouth.
He just
I'm
doesn't like
listening.
my archetype.
I'm
Yeah, but you
listening.
didn't pay attention to the part that pertained to him.
I listened to all of it, bro. You can't tell me what I did and did not listen
I
to.
apologize.
If I hear somebody continue to speak from a state of lack and to a state of experiencing something that they never experienced, that means that, yes, Kenny, just how you pointed out, he's holding on to something. The only way that you can get over that and actually receive what it is that you want is by speaking and seeing the very thing that you want. You can't continue to point out what it is that you don't want and expect for you not to get it. That's not how life works.
Okay, so Kim is up here. Kim is a nurse. She can identify the problem and know how to fix it. In this situation, Viz, I'm not taking jabs at you. You're not the person I would come to for counsel from how you respond.
And so be it. I wouldn't, vice versa to you, Kenny. I mean, I damn near for sure wouldn't take advice
Guys,
from
you guys are
I just
advising
want
a
to
guy. You guys are great.
Hold on,
That's not
everybody.
each other. You guys
He
chill,
can,
man.
I just look.
Hold on,
I'm gonna be real,
Come
man. I just
on.
want to make it long with
hold on. I want OTC to respond, because he haven't. I don't know if you've been bringing his name up, so let him respond, and we'll go to Kim.
All I'm gonna say to you is I don't with it, I see how me pointing out the issues between men and women in these relationships. I see how the negative points can make you feel like I'm talking about women that I disqualify. But the reality of it is, I've dealt with more women with kids than most niggas have, and I didn't have no problem about them having kids. It was strictly based off how she was. All right. So when you sit here talk about women I disqualify, I've talked to women that you probably wouldn't even talk to, that you would claim is beneath your level, and I've treated them with respect. Whereas I know a lot of dudes, if a woman is ugly, they don't give a fuck about her opinion. So you can't sit here and try to judge and speak on who I'm not qualifying and who I am. I'm simply saying that the behavior is an issue. And these behaviors can lead to life or death situations. Simply sitting here thinking that you're trying to be a protector and provider, and your woman doesn't know how to move out here. You can't be put in a situation if you have a fragile ego. Cause there's a lot of dudes out here. Oh, he's talking to my girl too long. Oh, she smiled at him. Oh, and then the next thing you know, you have a full blown out issue with a man you don't know from a hole in the wall because of your female, how she reacted to him.
But
And I landed there.
so OTC, just quick
I want
question.
to get to Kim.
OTC,
Yeah.
why deal with those type of women though?
Those aren't women.
You
This the
just, bro,
problem.
you
Those
just
are That's
said, you
your
just,
women. This,
bro,
this is what I'm saying, bro. That's the women that I'm trying to that I want to be with. They don't. I'm not accepting that. Don't you understand? So it's not that I don't want these women. They just don't want to change that. Some of these women like to be loud. Some of them like to be argumentative. It's not too many women coming up here on the internet talking about, oh yeah, I'm actually benefiting from my therapy.
but bro,
There's a lot of men going that don't even go to the psychiatrist no more. They don't even go to therapy anymore. There's a reason for
Brother,
that. You're
I
acting
have
like
never
it's
seen anybody so
bro,
proud of dealing with trash.
wait,
I've never seen
Ikane, hold
anybody.
on, Ikane, hold on, bro. I don't,
disingenuous conflict.
my question again is why
Yes, I do want to
invest?
get Kim in there. I do want to just let's just rest with y'all for a second. Let's get
Can I
some
go
other
after her,
in there.
please?
Yeah, we
Appreciate it.
can. Go ahead, Kim.
To Kenny, to what you said, I can't fix anything. As a nurse, I can just identify it. It's very easy to identify, and I have ideas and recommendations of what needs to be had. But just listening to OTC, this is why mentors, in my opinion, are very much needed. What you're going through, I can't help you. I can concede to that. I can identify it. I know how to be soft and gentle with you on my end when I'm a nurse.
I'm gonna
It's
go
what
ahead and
you
say
need.
love.
Like,
Thank you.
you don't need me to tell you what to do during that time, during a vulnerable time. The best thing that I can do is not make it harder because you've already had it hard. You need mentors, other men like Jason Wilson are very much needed. I can identify that. That's very easy to identify. I can also understand why men come into the emergency department on suicide watch. It's not funny. I get it. I understand why they come in there at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning frustrated. I get it. I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying in general, I see what's happening. I'm not blind to it. I get assigned these patients all the time. I don't there it is a vulnerable moment, and I'd be lying to you if I said I knew exactly what to do. I don't. I can just not add further pain to the problem. I think that's you need people like Jason Wilson around you, other men who can you can be vulnerable with. Obviously, if it's not women right now, it's not us. I understand, but not all women are the problem either. Um, there are women that are safe, so I don't know what you're going through that you're ending up in that situation. It's not for me to know. I also think
I
I
never
think it's
said
for,
all women love.
right, but I think it's just listening to you. I think you would do well
I
talking to
know I
one of
triggered
these
you.
men. No, you didn't trigger me at all. I'm just like you can hear the frustration. But when you say things like a lot of women don't want to listen, that's not all women. Just like not all men are
That's
bad.
exactly what I said, love.
Okay. Well, you sounded very heated, or you sounded very passionate about your response. So again, you need one of these men on the panel or somebody else, because I'm telling you, I don't have the answer. I can just identify it, and I can just not make it harder for you. So for example, I would not be a woman to make things harder for you. I would listen to you. I wouldn't invalidate what you said. And I wouldn't say that you're lying or anything like that.
All
So
right.
let me clarify
Can
my
I
position
can I
before we move on. I'm not in no kind of dire state. I have a job, all right. I have a YouTube channel. I'm working on a record label. I'm not somebody that's not ambitious or doing things. I don't have no problem with women right now. I'm not dealing with women because I'm focused on my finances. I'm trying to move up in that. All right, which women like to be protected and provided for. I'm speaking on these issues because I'm noticing that there are men that are getting up, they are leveling up, they are improving, and it's not being recognized because they don't have $1 million. So at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Y'all can sit here and be like, oh, I don't know why you feel like that. I don't know why it's coming off like it's doomsday to y'all. It should be coming off like, okay, these are some issues that actually sound legitimate. How are we gonna fix it?
All right, let's
That's
go.
what I'm trying to do.
I got you, OTC. Let's go to Mark and then True.
If I could just give some actionable steps, maybe not directly to OTC, but to gentlemen who are younger and maybe going through situations he's going through. I mean, in order to understand where someone like Viz is coming from, you have to have a high level of emotional intelligence and mastery. This is probably a brother who doesn't get triggered very often, and he probably doesn't respond to things in the way that we might be used to seeing people respond. So the way he comes across, I understand it, and it just might not be right for you. You know what I'm saying? But, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not attacking this brother at all. What I'm saying is this, bro. For people who are in the situation you describe, OTC, they first have to identify why they're able to accept that. And that comes from within. That's the number one first thing. And once you identify that, you have to identify what you want. You have to change your behaviors. You have to get around the type of people and environments that exude and perpetuate and purport that thing that you want to be a part of. And the only way to do that is to raise your self-worth, so you can not only raise your net worth and your network, you have to do that work right there. And that's the only way you can get around that, so that you don't continue to suffer the way that you've described these brothers are out here suffering. And furthermore, when brothers come up here and they say they're tired and they're going through certain situations, those words they should flash out like a red alert, so people can understand where these brothers are coming from. And lastly, and I'll just kind of leave it with this, you have to be okay with being seen as the bad guy in the relationship. When you're a man and you leave the relationship, this is why women typically leave the relationship at a higher rate than men, because we stay too long because we're afraid of the backlash of being seen as the bad guy for prioritizing ourselves and leaving a situation that's not serving us. You have to prioritize yourself as the man. You have to center yourself as the man. You are what's important, because you're no good to anybody if you're not straight. So you have to leave the situation, say, I'm not accepting this. This is not popping for me. It's not lit for me. It's trash. And be okay with the fact that she's going to paint a narrative against you, and that people are going to say he's an a-hole, he's a bastard, he's XYZ for leaving. This is the only way you can get what you want. But you have to be willing to accept the punches, the backlash, and you have to be willing to do the work. So maybe one day that generation can get to a place where Viz is at, and just be very centered and grounded and not be so emotionally responsive. And I hope that was helpful to any young men that were listening.
All right, go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, no, that was great, Mark. A lot of you guys have said some great things. What I would hopefully add to this conversation is that relationships are reflective. A lot of times when I'm observing young men and young women, but particularly men who are struggling with the exchange, I don't think men understand who they are. I think a lot of times they don't do enough self-discovery. A lot of young men are in transition. And what tends to happen is, if you want to know who you are or who you aren't, just get into a relationship with a woman or a female. That will expose where you need to tighten up. I've yet to see women leave quality, an environment.
Come on.
No, I'm serious. I'm saying I've yet to see. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. And this is why, this is my perception. A lot of times men have been giving the identity that the world says we need to have. So if my money is right, there should be no issues in my relationship. If I have the right zip code, there should be no issues in my relationship. And that's further from the truth. One thing that happens when a woman gets to deal with you on an intimate level, in my opinion, is that the flare and the flash becomes norm. She's always going to be seeking you individually, mindset, spirit, who you are as an individual. And I don't see a lot of men that I'm interacting with, just men who really have an individualized persona of self. They're good on the labels and stuff and the title, But then who are you without those things, my brother? And that's what I see. So relationships to me are reflective. Water seeks its own level. You can only maintain who you are. And
All right, I do got to get to these super chats before anybody else speaking. I'm going to just run this next clip. Truth and reality undefeated. $5 says the problem is people is playing obtuse just to make another perspective. They willing to ignore logic, stats, biology, and observable reality. Truth again. $5 says vetting isn't the same as testing. A man should observe and vet, but not test. Don't create a situation that's feminine. Just let life happen and watch. JR, you should be ashamed of yourself. You know, Hink can't drive and talk at the same damn time. Safety first. Begin with the $10. True reality undefeated. $2 says we shouldn't want a fine wife being obtuse again. Truth again. $5 says so a person can't get a cute/fine person with good personality too. Why can't it be both? We are too one-minded in these conversations. CJ for president. LD, also a member of 499 at Viz. So now we can't have a fine wife and girl. Viz must has a gremlin. Truth and reality undefeated. $5 says we see a person first. We always qualify with physical first. We don't see a woman and be like, damn, she got a great personality. Why say damn, she fine, obtuse? Truth again. $5 says so we complaining is gender specific. Men are robots. We can't have problems with stuff or people. We're not allowed to feel/show but the full spectrum of emotions. Truth again. $2 says address the female behavior and the man. Ikane. Truth again. $2 says she's an adult. How is her behavior his fault? Obtuse. Truth and defeat again. $2 says but what was he saying wrong? Stop the therapy shit. Stravoda with the foreign currency 125 OT says 100%. If you date women nowadays, most of them are badly behaved. This has nothing to do with a state of lack. The market is the market. Truth again, $5 says what he is saying is that the majority of women, and he's frustrated, not that it's all he chooses, can't get watermelons in a pumpkin patch. Obtuse. Truth again. $2 says a man can speak on stuff without being damaged. Question mark. Mr. Travoda with the 250 foreign currency. Fizz, you need to hold women accountable. You're pandering. Men can't be blamed for women's bad behavior. If you're fishing in a pond with trash, you're most likely to get trash. OTC is 100% correct. It's cooked. Mr. Travoda with the 125 foreign currency. True, you are wrong. Women are slaves to their feelings, and a lot of them have no sense of duty. They will leave a good man because they're unhappy. No duty. And lastly, for right now, Big Jizz composition, $2. Shout out to OG Speed, chat, and panel. I want to thank everybody that has contributed to the platform thus far. If you guys haven't hit that like button, I'm hearing the likes been down all afternoon. Hit that like button. I'm gonna run this next clip. Here we go.
Delete it. Why can't I express myself? I want to tell her how I feel. Bruh, she doesn't care. How do you know? You wouldn't be sitting there texting in the first place. A woman that cares about you will study you and learn everything about you. She'll know when you feeling every emotion. That woman does not care. Aren't you tired? Tired of what exactly? Liking women that don't like you. Sometimes I get caught up in wanting to be with them so bad that I forget that it's one-sided. It seems like I can never choose the good woman. She probably is a good woman. She's just not a good woman for you. What if I just send it to get it off my chest? Just so I can feel better. Send it to a friend, a therapist, chat, GPT, anybody but her. Because you're going to expect a response from her. And she's going to hit you with the, oh, I don't know what to say, or nothing at all. And it's going to eat you up inside. So save your time, save your feelings, and delete the message. Let's stop wasting time on people who don't even check up on us. Can't even get a good morning text first. Always giving excuses when you ask them on a date. Somebody else will say yes. Sometimes the people that we like just look good. That don't mean they are good. for us. Leave them where they at. All right.
All right, so there's a clip where he was talking to himself, giving himself some advice. When you're tired of expressing yourself, how you feeling about that clip, man? That was a situational clip that I'm pretty sure maybe somebody have gone through. You know, somebody has gone through. Anybody want to go ahead,
OG? I think that this is really piggyback into the discussion we're already having. One of the first things I found out, there's 4 quarters to end a game. You only know who's the winner after the 4th quarter. You're going to have to be able to communicate in the language that the people is communicating to you. I understand Viz, I understand Kenny P, I understand all that. And all that comes in the game of the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th quarter. The problem that I think happens a lot within this YouTube space, and we think miracles happen in one show or in one discussion. One of the things I found out very early when I was doing comedy, there was a very famous comedian, a female comedian. She used to get on stage and say, every man I ever met always have strips in his underwear. And people would laugh and applaud that and say, you know, and say what she said was right. But then when I came up after, I said, what kind of box do you have to attract men who can't wipe their ass properly? And then see, that brings another thing to the conversation. So I think when we start having this discussion, we got to understand there's more than just one step to get to where we want. I think this is a person who wants to bring it straight off point. He wants to be raw, straight off point, in a nice, kind way. He wants to tell you what is the end, what your therapist going to tell you in the end. Good therapists listen and let you get it all out, and it brings you step. And I think this is some of the things that I bring up in the generation of scared straight. And that's why I'm so raw when I bring things out. That's why I use these examples, crazy ass examples, so I can paint a picture. I think we all have something we can bring to the conversation for OTC. And I think Kenya P did a great job. I think Viz did a great job. I think we all are doing a great job. It's the information that he's going to grasp after. When he hear this and he even play this back, he go see, you know what? I couldn't see it in the heat of the moment, but I understand it a little bit better. So I think it's all about communication, and we keep talking, we'll figure this thing out.
OG, to answer you, I don't know how many people up here do therapy. I do it once a week. I grew up in trauma. I'm not scared to tell people what I've been through. That makes me transparent. I despise people that come up here and put smiling faces, knowing that they ain't what they say they are, and they've been exposed time and time again. Just tell the truth. Shame the devil. That young man needs to hear truth. It's consumable to steps where he's not pushing back at you, or no longer feels that he needs to be defensive. If you feel you got to hit him with a hammer so he can get a message, he might hit you back with something. Let's not provoke. As for that video we just saw, I'm a living example of it.
I get you, and what I'm saying.
Wait, was that aimed at me?
No.
Oh no!
Wait, hold on. Wait. He's addressing me. He's addressing me.
Hold on. But let's let Kenny finish because he was about.
That's what I was saying. Let Kenny finish.
Yeah, I was just responding to OG, but I was getting on the skit that we just saw. I'm a living example of that. I have a female friend who has covered me. I've cried. I felt a certain type of way about a woman that was given not 80-20, 90-10. And then you have to realize you can't pour into somebody if they're not pouring into you. And I'm not scared to say it. And she was like, you know what? She said the exact things that man said to his ego. That is needed. You saw how he handled himself, though. It was consumable. It wasn't. It wasn't bricks and
oh, you might got to mute. You might have to mute.
Yeah, I didn't know. I'm finna cut it mute because I them long pauses. You know, I have that.
Like when you're tired of expressing yourself, you can never get tired. or you'll be devoid of humanity. You'll be disrespectful to your heart. It's just who you give it to. You got to take your bumps and bruises so that you can learn and move forward. And those on the side that caulk at you, just let them. You still rolling up your sleeves till 1 foot is in the grave. You have to learn humility and to grow, no matter what age you are, 22, 50. That's why it's all right for me to say I'm going to love up on my brother, because I do therapy. This is something I couldn't say a year, 2, 3, 4 ago. I'll be too prideful and shameful to be up here and tell you. I go through it, but you know what I know? A lot of us go through it too. And I love being an advocate for those that have no voice. As for that video, kudos. That needs to be broadcasted and get like 12 million likes. I dropped there.
Okay, so Kenny, I'm gonna say that everything you said was totally fair, and anybody can pick up on it. As a person who has 30-some people in my house who have mental challenges and drug addiction that I've been dealing with for the last 4 years, I quite understand what you just said. But one of the things, most important thing of that video, I think, maybe I'm thinking that some of us didn't get, we can never, ever validate what a person needs in closure. See, what you need in closure and what somebody else need in closure, it might be something done. So I can see it both ways when I see that video. Because if that guy really need closure and it sound good to him to not to send that message, and if he walk away and haven't changed the way he look at things, then he's gonna go through that again. He don't have closure. So some people sometimes have to get it out of their system to have closure, and they can say to themselves, "I did everything I needed to do. Now I can move on." We can never validate what another person needs as closure. We just have to listen to them. And just like I listened to OTC, and whatever we said in them, that's why I say we got 4 quarters. Everybody can insert something that he might can take away from that and get his closure and build himself. He already told you he's working on himself. He's doing the things he need to do to get his finances together and stuff like that. But there's one department that he's still holding on to a little bit to what he see. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not going to take that away from him. That's what he see. That's what he feel. That's what he's touching. But when I first came to LA, it was the same way. I thought all LA was Crips and Blood. But then when I lived here, I found out there was other people who wasn't Crips and Blood. That was only a small vicinity when I thought it was a major thing, because that's what the news was reporting.
Hey,
And
go ahead, Mark.
I
Go
want to touch on that, OG. That was well spoken. I want to say that, you know, it's a lot of people in the hood that, you know, not committing crimes, not, you know what I'm saying, out there trying to trap. That's a great point. And that brings me to another thing. It's like, you know, some people like to claim that they was in the streets, but they weren't really in the streets for real. And then you got people that'll condone some things that's wrong because they think it's real. You see what I'm saying? All of this coincides and slaps together, even when you come in relationships, because motherfuckers be out here with somebody girl, know that they supposed to be faithful, or she'll be with her homegirls, and because they want to be real, they won't tell the partner about the cheating experience. So then we got to come back all together and slap this all together and be like, okay, well, if people is being coddled and embraced when they lie, when they cheat, they have a corner to run to. When you get, as a man, you get hurt, all you get is nothing but ridicule. All you get is nothing but you need to be better. It's like it is sound. I understand where you sound like it sounds doomsday, but I don't think it's doomsday because I'm not gonna stop fucking with women. I just see the landscape. And I'm telling you, it doesn't look beneficial for a man to get married. It's not that I don't want people to get married. It's that I rather see, I've had homeboys that he beat up old, young, his age, because they was looking at his girl booty. And I used to tell him that, hey bro, she's coming outside in booty shorts. He didn't listen. Do you know that same dude that I tried to tell him that? He slammed me on my motherfucking head because he wanted to drive my car. And this is what I get to talk about when we talk about integrity and we talk about what real men do. Because everybody is sitting there and look at that nigga and be like, oh, he a real nigga. this is the shit I be talking about. Like we just gotta come back to some real normalcy in here. We can't sit here and judge a man based off of what women do. Everybody need to be judged off what they do.
You know what,
Nobody's never
OTC?
gonna get true justice.
This and I'm glad you brought that point up. This doubles back a little bit to what we were talking about earlier. This is why, brother, it's so important for our people in particular to identify what we want and learn how to get ourselves around what we want. If our experience, especially in the environment, because let's keep it real, as people, we, and this may be going off subject a little bit, so I apologize, real me and JR if I'm going off subject. As people, man, Black people in particular, man, we are hypocritical as heck. We pick and choose what's okay, and we pick and choose what we want to ridicule based on popularity, based on social media. This is why you can't use social media as a litmus test for anything. Don't look at it for where you're at in life as opposed to where you should be in life. Don't look at it for relationship advice. Don't look at it for business advice, tax advice. It's not safe out here, man. This is why you have to identify. I want to be this type of man. I want to dress this type of way. I want to have this kind of look. I want to have this type of speech pattern. I want to articulate myself this way. Where are people who are already like this at? And then you put yourself around those people, because when you get around the right people, you level up instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And you no longer have to make that your experience, but you have to first say to yourself, I don't deserve the experiences that I'm going through. I am the cause of the experiences I'm going through first. I've identified I don't any longer want to participate in these experiences. Now my self-worth has grown, and I say I no longer deserve these experiences. Therefore, I won't accept these experiences. And now I have to seek out the experiences that I do want to be a part of. And you have to be okay with being ridiculed once you separate yourself as well. So as Black people, we got to stop hypocriting, man. And that's one of my biggest grievances with our culture, is just the hypocrisy for me. I can't stand it. And it's ridiculous when we pedestalize foolishness and we hate on people who want to advance and be better. I think it's trash. I think it's whack. I think it's goofy. And there's nothing real or gangster about it, period.
Yeah, OTC, I think you brought up some valid points, man. I think first off, even just mentioning the streets, bro, fuck the streets. It doesn't matter if a person came from the streets or not. Even if you are in the streets, were once in the streets. I was in the streets at one point, but at one point I realized that, you know what, I'm seeing all of my friends, my homies, they going to jail, they being deleted. This is not for me. So once I started to step out of it and started to do stuff that was more bougie, niggas started calling me, "Oh, you bougie?" Hell yeah, I am. Absolutely. You know, because the stuff that y'all still doing, that's not what I want to associate myself with. You know what I'm saying? I'm 38 years old. I'm not fighting nobody. Ain't nobody putting their hands on me. I'm not even putting myself in the position for that. Especially if you try to drive my car. Nigga, I'm not even communicating. I'm not even investing time in you if this is the type of person you are.
Well,
So
that happened when
you
I
have
was 22. I won't there. Definitely.
well, I get that. I'm just using it for the context. So all I can do is go off of what it is that you're giving me, right? So if you hang with 5 fools, you're going to become the 6th one. So you have to remove yourself from the situations in which are bringing forth the very things that you don't want. That's all that I've been saying this entire time.
Nah,
You
and
know?
you speaking facts, I agree with that. I want to say that I've been since my felony, right? Because this is the problem I'm having. Like, yeah, I've realized that, I came to the same conclusion as you, that the streets was bullshit. I've been telling people to get jobs, so I've been in, like you said, I received a lot of ridicule, you lame, you whack, all of that. I've been through all of that. This is like 6, 7 years down the road now. And what tend to find is that, you know, even though I have made, like, because people that know me from my past, they can see, like, just me get on this camera, my progress. Because even if you go to my channel, like, I'm not the most communicative or what you say exact person. It's just I've been through a lot, and my cumulative experiences and what I've looked up, like I'm not no idiot. So I can kind of communicate and convey how I feel, but it's not like I'm a professional. But it's like there's no, people say get it on your own. I am getting on my own. I've been working on my business for years. I've been doing this on my own for years. Nobody really wanted to help me, or I've been trying to help other people out. I helped them start their own like
Well,
they
bro,
own clothing businesses because I taught them about the online shit. I
if
helped them get on the band lab so they could create their own free music. It's a lot of things that I did for people. Now I'm saying that I didn't ask for nothing back in return. Where I'm at now is people trying to hold me to my past mistakes as an excuse not to help me at all. And then when I get into a position where it's time for me to get a promotion, he doesn't really deserve it. He smokes and he drinks. But my work ethic is flawless. I have respect. I'm genuine. The only way you'll see me get disrespectful is if you disrespect me first. And I feel like it's this nitpicking that's keeping people that's trying to elevate from getting to where they need to be.
well,
Because
all right.
everybody not
So
gonna be the same.
OTC, and I get what you're saying 100%, but you have to keep in mind that your image is everything. Your image, the way that you portray yourself is everything. You can be a solid man. You can be the most solid dude on this panel right now. But I'm gonna just be blunt with you. But due to the fact that you're presenting yourself the way that you are right now, and all I can do is go off of what you're presenting, what you're giving me. But just off the strength of you being on this panel in a beater, you smoke, you blowing in the car, you damn near chinky eyed, you might have been drinking, what all of these influences is clear, right? So a person that is in a position to promote you can do nothing but take that into consideration. So what you're doing is actually sabotaging yourself from even getting to the very place that you want to
I
get to.
disagree because
Let me finish. Hear me out.
I
Hear me out.
disagree.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
I
Hear me out.
disagree.
Hear me out. You're sabotaging yourself from even getting to that very place that you want to get to because of what it is that you're showing. You can smoke, you can drink, you can blow, you can do all this shit, but do it in the privacy of your own home. Only allow for the people that's in your circle, your immediate circle, to know that. But once you then begin to expose that to everyone else, by human nature, they're going to judge you. Regardless if the Bible says thou shalt not judge or whatever, it's irrelevant. It is human nature for people to judge someone by the image that they portray. So if you're showing yourself in this image, then you can only blame yourself, brother.
Viz, can I piggyback off of that? OTC, before you go, can I just let me impart this into you, brother, because I'm gonna call you out to call you up, right? Because I can tell just by the way you speak, OTC, and by your lexicon, your vocabulary, that you're not a stupid individual. You're not a dummy. You're not a person that doesn't know something. He's 100% right about image. And it's something I had to learn. It's a harsh reality, especially as black men. Because, let's keep it real. White dudes could come to work in a t-shirt and have $1 billion company. They could blow trees in public, whatever. So what? It doesn't matter. What I was taught by one of my mentors was, what are you willing to give up in order to gain what it is that you're looking for? There are going to be many things you have to give up, brother. You're going to have to give up behaviors. You're going to have to give up habits. You're going to have to give up things you like. You're going to have to give up people you love. Okay. And you have to be willing to make those sacrifices in order to gain the life that you're looking for. There are just some things that are not acceptable. And as black men in particular, we are always held to a standard of perfection just to get the entry level respect. It's not even going to get you the respect that you're really looking for. It's the entry level respect. And if you don't come up to that principle and understand that, you are doomed to failure. And a person like you, and the only reason why I'm saying this, because anyone who knows me in real life knows Mark don't care. I won't say nothing to nobody. You want to walk off a cliff, go head first and bust your noggin. Not my problem. But when I see a young brother like you with so much potential, it really It does something. And I have to impart this into you, brother. Ask yourself this question. What are you willing to give up in order to get what you're looking to gain? And if you have that honest conversation with yourself and you realize you're not willing to give it up, then the next question you have to ask yourself is, do you really want what you think you want? Because you're going to have to give up something, brother, and it's going to hurt.
I respect both of y'all brothers' view, and I hear where y'all coming from. You know, the image thing, the dreads, the beater, jerking, smoker, I hear you. But this is my big problem though. Like, I have a lot of suits and stuff, right? I could put on a suit every day I get on camera if I wanted to. A nice one, a clean one, an expensive one. But would that mean that all of a sudden that I'm telling the truth now? Like, it's like when you present yourself a certain way, it's like people automatically give you some kind of benefit of the doubt. And most of the time in my life, people that sit here smile in my face be the ones trying to betray me. And I find it disingenuous. My thing is, if you accept me for me and I'm a good person, does it matter whether I got on a suit or a t-shirt or a beater?
You're missing the point, bro. It's
No,
about
it's not a
it's about respect that you garner. And the first way you garner respect from humanity, unfortunately, because we're a judgmental society, is your appearance. You only get one shot at a first impression. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. And the sooner we accept that, and as Kevin Samuel said, rest in peace to him, black men stop being rebels, trying to rebel against what is and trying to change what is instead of accepting it. And you're not acquiescing. You're
but
not, you're
what
not,
isn't
you're not
right?
assimilating. You're just accepting the standard of what it is, calling yourself up to a higher level and presenting better, because people will listen to you more if you present better. It's just the way it is, Brody. There's nothing we could do about it. You heard? There's no reason
Okay,
mulling
but
it
I'm
over.
saying, if you value what I'm saying, like this my thing. If I value you, brother, and if I like I follow if I was to follow everybody on the panel, I'm not gonna expect everybody to every time they get on camera to be presentable all the time. And this is just my thing. Like, I
But
feel
why?
like it's too
But why wouldn't
uptight.
you expect that though?
Hold on. Let him finish, Viz.
I feel like things are too uptight. I feel like there's too many, oh, you can't be like this. You can't do this to be successful. And like you mentioned, like he mentioned the point earlier, it's white boys out here smoking weed. He kept it light. It's managers out here doing cocaine, meth needles in the parking lot of the job that they work at. Like, nobody wants to talk about what white people doing, but I ain't even gonna go there. But like, it's like, why is it that we sit here and the little things? I smoke weed. I drink. Okay. Well, like I mentioned earlier, I don't do crack. I don't do needles. I'm working on a business. Instead of putting me down for the things that you can find, like me wearing a beater, why can't we focus on the things that are actually tangible?
OTC,
Like
what's
my
the
youth.
difference between drug and what's the difference
Hey, hold
between
on,
drug
hold
and
on, hold
weed?
on, hold
Stop,
on.
stop,
With all
Yeah,
due
What is the
respect, brother,
difference between drug and
brother,
weed?
with all due
OTC.
stop,
Ikene,
stop
with
Man,
all
it.
due
you
respect,
guys have been speaking for too long. I've been quiet for 30
I know,
brother,
I
minutes.
know, but I'm saying let him finish.
Yeah, let
Yeah,
it. We
without
I'm
I got.
asking him a
hey,
question.
it's too much
brother,
I'm
yelling.
let
asking
us
him a
have this
question.
back and forth,
Too
because this
loud, man.
interjection is not going to help this brother. We looking to help this brother.
Yeah, we trying to help him.
We ain't looking to judge him and hate on him. We just trying to put him onto the way of the world. And some questions don't need to be asked because the answers are rhetorical, OTC. It's the way of the world, brother. And while it might be unfair, it is what it is. And this is where I start to side with Viz and his perspective of not complaining and not asking too much questions about it because it's not going to benefit us. We don't care what the white boys is doing. We not
Exactly.
white boys. We
Exactly.
are black men. And the standard that we're held to, it is what it is. And if we have to be
That's
1,000%
not
better,
us.
hold on one second, brother. I'm not accusing you of anything, and I'm not trying to misconstrue what you're saying. I brought up the white boys because I understand the landscape of the world and how we are portrayed. If we have to be 1,000% better to get the outcome that we're looking for, is that not worth it? Is the outcome that we want not worth it? Is it not worth putting on a suit? Is it not worth maybe laying some vices to the side or cutting back and doing those things in moderation? Is it not worth being more articulate? Is it not worth presenting better? Because this ain't about them. This is about you. you're going to end up blocking yourself and becoming a stumbling block and an obstacle between yourself and your expected outcome that you're trying to reach. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The things that in between, the little changes you got to make, they're negligible. It's just a necessary evil, bro. And that's the way you got to look at it. It ain't
This is
about
my
you.
thing. I hear you,
Hold
bro, but
tight.
this is my thing, bro.
Hey,
It's
OTC,
like
hold tight real quick. Hold
I
tight.
make rap music, right?
OTC, hold tight real quick. I think Marcus made a good he has some other messages, but this is good. A man doesn't have to conform if he doesn't want to just accept the consequences, which is kind of speaking like there are rules that are out here, and if you want the desired outcome, there are multiple ways of getting it. But I think based off our experience, we've seen that these are the ones that typically your results. It doesn't mean that you can't get the results. You know, maybe you might have to level up in your company. Then maybe once your company become a big company, then now you can talk with the powerhouses and you can do what you want to do because you now have the money and people are going to respect, people respect money, right? Mm-hmm. Another point is that OTC is your life. If you want different results that require assimilation, then do it. The market says it depends on your desired outcome. So I think these are some great points. It's just information. I don't think we really got to personalize. I enjoy information. You may not agree with them, but just sit on it and just put everything into this big perspective, man. I mean, if you want certain outcomes, these are things. There's a quick way to get to it. Then there's another way you probably can go around to it. But just understand that it's going to always be rules. Same thing with the whole tax thing, right? If you understand how money works, then you'll be able to make money and you'll be able to write off so much different shit while you're making the money where it looks like you don't even make no money. To me, I remember before when I was young, I used to try to make as much money as I could on my W-2. Now, I'm trying to write everything off with the LLCs. I'm trying to make as less as possible while still being able to live the lifestyle that I want to live. So information is important because there's so much value in it, because it could probably be a way that we can accept it. And it may be different from how we used to thinking, but it could be so valuable. It's just information, man. So just use it how you want to use it. I don't think nobody trying to change you. If you find value in it, whenever you find value in it, then use it. If you don't find the value in it, then don't use it. I don't think you don't necessarily think you have to personalize it. And I know sometimes the men may come off as though they're trying to make you personalize it, but I still think it's valuable information to put into your toolage bag. I think you need to add this to it. You may not got to use it now, but it may come a time where you have to use it. And when you have to use it, you will have it because you heard it before. So just have an open mind to be able to accept the information. You don't have to use it right now, but it is some value in it.
JR, thank you for letting me on the panel. OTC, it was great listening to you as a young man who opened himself up to the conversation and dialogue that we're having. I'm going to leave you with this. I speak on my channel about health. I'm 4 years from being 70 years old, and you'll never find another one like me. It's because I walk the way I speak. You know what I mean? So branding is very important. You know what I mean? Branding, your brand is you. You are the corporation. And so what you're looking for at the end, you got to understand what brand I'm putting forth. So you always got to be mindful of that. Peace, love, and always strive for the truth. Truth, all your brothers and sisters on the panel. Everybody have a rest of an amazing day. I'm going to be listening to you in the cloud. Thank you, chat room, for being so patient with my low-winded. JR, next time, put me on the clock, too.
I got you. Yeah, I think OG made a good point too about that brand. That whole brand is a whole nother conversation, and that's something that I had to learn. That I learned at a older age than younger in this game, is how important the brand is.
Yeah,
and the brand comes into play. You can get brand deals, but you can get more brand deals depending on the brand, depending on your personal image, your brand. So it's not that you can't get it, but sometimes it's bigger bags than some of them bigger brands. Now you don't have to do. You can do whatever it is you want to do, but if you want to attract some of them brand deals and tap into it, it's certain things they look for. It's certain things that they don't want, but it's certain things that they will settle for. So I'm not saying you have to totally be this type of person, but just be mindful. If there's something you want to achieve, you got to play the game. And I think a lot of people understand how to play the game, and they still have fun and still do what they want to do. They just know how to play this game.
I don't want to play the Diddy game.
I ain't tell you trying to play the Diddy game. It's a whole different.
That's a
I want
different game.
Yeah.
I
And
want the
but
working way.
OTC, to that point of what JR just mentioned, when you said that you don't want to you had said something along the lines of not caring about your image when you got on a panel or on the internet. My question is, why would you not want to care about that? Because to JR's point, yeah, you can very much build your brand off of the image that you're portraying. But is that the image that you're willing to accept, that the repercussions that comes with that, with pushing that image out? So you have to be mindful, you have to be intentional. Coming on the internet is one of the most intentional things that you can do. So if you're not considering that, then you're almost going about life in a blind way, or you're playing the game rather blindly.
I put it to like this, and we can agree to disagree. Like I'm really taking in everything that y'all saying, but my problem with it is like it's the same reason why I don't put on a fit every day and try to put on a outfit every day. Is because women put on makeup. A lot of women come
Stop
out here,
bringing
they
up
bad.
stop
Let
bringing
me
what
finish. Let me
other
finish, bro.
people
Let
have
me
done.
finish,
Hold
bro.
on,
I'm
Biz.
not
Let him
trying to
finish. Let him
disrespect.
finish.
I'm trying to make a point. All I'm saying is that women put on makeup, they get all dressed up, they get dolled up, and they look really good, right? And I've slept with a lot of women, and I've seen their face when they're not caked up. So it's like, I feel like me coming to the internet and not always trying to look my best gives the people that's following me a genuine side of me, instead of me coming up on the internet always acting like I got this or I got that, because I do have things, but I just feel like it would be more genuine if I just get up here. Sometimes I have an outfit on. When I come from an interview, sometimes I've had a suit on. But today, I don't go to work till 9 o'clock. I'm in a tank top. You know what I'm saying? I don't find it to be the utmost important, to get dressed whenever I do something. And I want to foster genuine bonds. Like if I come around somebody and we supposed to be building, I don't want to be on pins and needles. You over here, oh, why you don't got a suit on? Like, I mean, like to me, I think it's like, I think that's all white culture. I think that's all the business. Like people is people out here nowadays, they don't wear suits to business meetings anymore. Like we gotta upgrade with the times. We can't
Uh,
sit
I
here
gotta,
and just
I gotta
I
speak,
think
guys.
you're
I
too
gotta
you're
speak. I gotta
too,
speak. I gotta speak. I gotta speak. It's been too long. Hey, Vince, you talk too much, man. You never let any
speaking
other
that.
person
I
speak.
know you not talking,
No, you
man.
do that all the
I
time. You
know
do that
you
all the
not
time.
talking.
Man,
Of
you
all
shut
people,
everybody down for 30 minutes. Nobody can say shit for 30 minutes. Come on, brother. You gotta, yeah, please let other people talk. This is what I gotta say,
Are you gonna
because
blame me?
you guys are trying to baby OTC. He's a grown ass man that's supposed to have children.
I don't got no
You guys
children.
are trying. You guys are trying to make this guy look like he's a 12-year-old kid, man.
I do
Number
not
one,
have
look at the way.
children.
I don't care. Let me finish talking. OTC, you
You
had the
just
floor for a
lied.
long
That was a
time.
crazy lie.
You have singlet on a shirt. You have a hair that is not kept. Smoking weed in front of camera. Drinking in front of camera. And acting like a
This is
12-year-old
water.
child. I don't give a fuck what you're doing.
You just don't like
And everybody here is just babying you like
expose
you're a
yourself.
12-year-old kid. You're a grown fucking ass man. Trying to tell me that not wearing a suit to somewhere. I'm a businessman. I own businesses.
You got on a
And if you
shirt.
come to my job, if you come to my place for employment, I throw you the fuck out of the door. I don't care.
Yeah, I bet.
Because
I bet.
your blood cannot, your pee can't even pass the test to walk through my front door for an interview.
Hey,
And
Kenny.
you
It's a
here
shame. It's
making
a
black men,
shame that
and
based
you
off my
here
tank
you
top,
here
you
making
gay
black
and
men
I'm
look
talking to you
stupid,
and
and
kick
black
me
men
out
are
your
here
room. Your
baby you
business
like a
is
little
concerned.
child. You're a grown ass motherfucking man. Go dress
Kenny.
right, keep yourself kept, look good.
Kenny, talk to me.
You I'm trying to tell you that look at a grown ass man that's supposed to have
Kenny, talk
children.
to me. You
I
Can
don't
you
have children. Why do you
even
keep
if you
saying
don't
that?
have children, don't you want to have children tomorrow? Why
Kenny,
should I
talk to me.
why should I
But it's a
baby
very
you like?
big point that I don't have children, because that would assume that
But guess what?
I'm being
Train your goddamn
frivolous
self,
out
even if
here.
you're not raised by a father. Make yourself look
Kenny,
presentable.
This is just an assault. I'm gonna tell you what you're doing, old man. This
wait.
is just
I
an
don't
Okay.
care
assault in the
what it
chat.
is because I've listened to
Hold
this
on.
man for more than
I
30
let you
minutes trying
speak.
to
Can I
baby you
respond?
like you're a 12-year-old
Elder,
You weren't
child.
babying him, Kenny. Kenny, I know
Elder,
what
can I
No, 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 no,
respond?
no, 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 no. This is too much, man. This is
But I
too
can't say
much. I'm
nothing
very, very
back. So you could
offended.
just insult
Kenny.
me, but
I
I
know
can't
what
say
cloth
nothing
you're
back,
cut
right?
from.
It
But
is what
no,
it
no,
But
is.
this is one
yeah, I
question.
understand the cloth that I'm cut from. I understand what you're saying, Kenny. I understand. But this is the problem here. And this is why these women complain. This is why these women complain. That
So
these
let me
men
ask
are
you a
acting like
question.
little kids.
Kenny.
And you are like a child
I'm
trying
a
to date
kid with a
women. That is why
job
you
No,
can't
and
date
working on a
women
business.
that
Kenny,
make sense. You're dating people's wives and
good
people's
Forget
brother,
about
girlfriends
that.
because you
good
can't get
brother.
I have an
a
LLC
right
in my
Kenny,
looking
name as
woman.
well too that I open.
Kenny, is this the way to fix it?
No, guess what? Are you
No,
going to
I asked
fix
you
it
a
by
question.
baby?
Hold on. Talk to me. Is
It's
what you're
a
doing?
damaged goods. What can you
Hold on.
fix?
So
Now I'm a
he's
dumbass.
he's no
Go ahead,
good.
let it
He's
out, let it
no
out.
good. Rest
But
of
when I get
rest
mad
of
and I cuss
society.
No,
people
no, no,
out,
no, no. You guys got to
I'm
let me
just like
talk
the
because for
person,
30
bro.
minutes I kept quiet,
But
man.
he's older than
You
me.
guys got
This
to
is
let me
all being
talk.
recorded.
This is what he should do. This
This
is
is
what he
all
should do.
being recorded, man.
Go and read
Nothing
it.
normal.
Yes,
This is
because I
normal to
want
me.
the next generation, 20, 30 years from now, to listen to this bullshit. Go
Right, bullshit. Everything that
and
I've said
get
has
a
been
book
bullshit.
that they told you
Right.
to read. That's number one. Number two, make yourself presentable and gather weed out of this goddamn screen so that people won't see you smoking weed on the goddamn screen. That's
Right. I
number
should
two
have
thing
put
you
it on a
should do.
shirt like you.
You should
I would have
appear,
been just
and let
better,
me finish. You
just
should
better
appear
if I had a shirt on,
presentable.
t-shirt. Right. Yeah.
I don't care if you have a t-shirt or nothing, but you don't look presentable. Go and
But you
get
do.
yourself look right. Get yourself look right. Get yourself look right. Cut your hair. Clean yourself.
Cut my
Look
hair. Now I gotta cut
presentable.
my hair.
Don't
Oh
tell don't
wow.
tell
Okay.
us.
We trying
Don't
to
tell
really
make your
emasculate
hair
me
look
now.
right. You don't have to
I
cut
get
it.
it.
Look
I
at
get it.
Vis. Do you see me complain about Vis?
First you call me
Vis
all
look
kind of
clean.
insults, then you
You
tell me to
don't.
cut my hair.
You
It's
don't. You
biblical,
look
right?
trash. And then number three, you have to be able to stop making yourself representing black men. Let me tell you, the world is orderly, and you have to be orderly. If you're a tech man, I'm in tech. I'm an engineer. If you're in tech, those guys that dress t-shirts in tech, those t-shirts cost $300, $500. They're not
Yeah, and they
cheap.
also scam people out of
And
insurance,
and
out
guess
of
what?
business
I
deals.
don't
Just
care
because they wear
whatever
a
they
suit
do.
doesn't
They
mean
look
they're the most
presentable to
upstanding
be able to
people.
scam people. Let me tell you what they
They're
do. Yes,
scammers.
they scam people,
A
but
lot
they
of them
look
suit
presentable.
wearers
They
are
don't look
scammers.
stupid. Because if they look like you, they can't scam. That's the thing. If they look like you, they can't scam. The reason why they can scam is because they look presentable. So
So it's
if
a
you
good
want to
thing
be
to
a
be able to
scammer, look
look the part of
presentable.
scamming.
If you want to
I'm
look
not trying to
good,
scam
if you
nobody.
want to be able to get good quality women, look presentable. The reason why these stupid ass married women, trashy married women are coming for you
You got
is because
divorced,
they
not
see you
me.
as trashy as
You the
them.
one that had an unsatisfied partner, not me.
Look at this guy just said a few minutes ago. He
You was
said,
just attacking
I
me,
know
so
that
I just came
the
at you
girls
with
that
the
I
same
date is the
energy. I
girls that
never
you guys
stunted on you
won't date. Why are you proud of that shit? The girls that I reject is
because
the
I
girls that
conquer
you
women.
would
They had
date.
sex with me and they liked it,
Are
so
you
that's a
fucking proud
W
of
for
that
me.
shit? Man, you guys continue
Kenny,
with this shit, man.
Kenny,
Yeah, see, we
waited
can't
30
go back and
minutes
forth,
and
brother.
your message is
I've had, I enjoyed the relationships that I had with the women because I got sex. I was never part of no relationship where I didn't get sex. I left when it was not
Kenny.
feeling like it was. So I don't have no hatred toward women or whatever you're trying to say. Or no, all I'm saying is their behavior. If they want to stay with a man long term, then they have to change some things on their part. I realize women is always going to be able to attract men. It's not even when I say the things that I say, it's not like I don't know that niggas is still gonna tell them something opposite. I'm just telling the
Okay,
truth so they have another option. So they looking at it another way. Because a lot of these
okay,
women, like you said, are complaining. And guess what? The money is not, that's not all that they want. They having problems with rich niggas too. So there's something else. Money
okay,
isn't all the factor. A lot of these rich niggas, they getting divorced. They talking about they having all kind of issues. And some of their
okay, so
issues sound very similar to men without money. So I just find it, hypocritical for this talk of a protector and provider sometimes when we talk about how much money a dude got, because It's a lot of dudes in different tax brackets complaining. It's not just the poor man. So
Okay, so the edification that you came up here and gave him at Kenny after waiting ample time, do you feel that it brought him closer to your message or farther apart?
The problem is, this is the problem, Kenny. I'm going to answer you right away. Yeah, I'll answer you the question. This is the problem. You guys have been giving him the advice that I think is best. And you know what he did? He shut you guys down. He defended his actions. He makes your advice look invalid. You see what I'm saying? That is the frustration.
that's crazy.
I'm telling you guys, there is no time in this conversation for the past 1 hour that you guys have been trying to get this guy to look things from your perspective. Not even one time did he say, you know what, I am wrong. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to change. He gives you guys reasons and reasons and reasons why you should continue in his bullshit. That's the problem.
Kenny, is Rome built in a day?
Guess what? You think you're the only one that has given him this advice? Rome wasn't built in a day. This guy, how many years is he? He's been, let me tell you, no single man that comes here and tells us this bullshit that hasn't been advised for the past existence of his life.
You can't even repeat
From
anything
since
I
he was
said.
a
You
little
keep
child,
saying
I'm
bullshit.
coming, Kenny. Since he was 5 years old or 3 years old to return memory, he knew the wrong from
You
right.
don't know
He
that.
knew right from
You don't
wrong.
know
He
how he
knew
grew
that.
up. You
Let me
don't
tell
know
you,
if he grew up
nobody,
in
I
trauma.
gotta tell you this, nobody in this life that grew up in the walls of ghetto that never had that doing this is good or doing this is bad. No matter which ghetto you raised in, there is always somebody giving you the right advice and there is somebody giving you the wrong advice.
Are
It
you
depends on which
sure
one you
that
choose.
he had
But
enough people
he's
that
completely
was
missing the
around
fact
him
that
to give him the
There is not.
necessary
I
Well,
never
guess
said
what,
it was wrong to wear a suit.
Kenny?
I said I shouldn't have to wear it
There
all the
is
time.
nothing. There is no way
So
that
I
the people
never
that
said I said I
that
wear
gives him the
suits to
wrong
interviews.
advice
I don't show up to
don't
interviews for no
outnumber the
job.
ones that are giving. That don't. Let me say this again. There
You
is
know, you
no way
just
that
want
the
to
people that
attack.
are
You just
giving
want to
him
be
the wrong
insulting
advice
to come across to get
doesn't
your point
outnumber
off.
the ones
Yeah,
that
it's
are
an
giving him
insult.
the right advice, which means small
How
amount
do
of
you
people are giving
know
him the right
this?
advice.
Do you
No,
know
this is
his
what I'm saying.
circle?
Excuse me, I'm coming. This is what I'm saying. The people giving him the right advice are very small. The ones giving the wrong advice are very big. I know that. I understand that. But what I'm trying to say is that he still get both side of information, no matter what. He still gets it. But it comes down to the one he choose to implement. Let me say this. Everybody in this life has a choice. You
How
have
can
a
you say
choice
I'm
to
not
either
implementing
choose
anything
wrong
though? That's
or choose
crazy.
right. No matter how the information is coming, no matter the quantity of information that is coming to you. Hink knows this. You, Kenny, knows this. Mark knows it. Kim knows it. Vince knows it. JR knows it. We all have a choice. We all get the same information, both good or bad, but it comes down to our choice. A woman that has 6 kids from 6 different women gets the same advice and information from a girl that has 0 kids.
So
Fizz,
since you
It
gonna
all
keep
comes down to our
attacking me, Mr.
choice.
Kane, let's make this let's get more
this is
direct.
what you like.
Who has more
Fizz,
knowledge on women?
Hold on,
You? How
OTC.
many
Fizz, is this
divorces
what you
have you
do?
been in?
Hold
God
on,
How
damn,
many
hold
divorces
on,
have you
young
had,
blood.
Kane?
Young blood, hold on, young blood. Hold on. Fizz, I'll leave
Nah,
for
he
an
keep
hour.
attacking me. Let me address him now. Let me talk about him.
Nah,
Let me address. He just
OTC,
attacked me.
check it out. Check it
So
out.
how
I
Watch.
got.
how?
Let me
Watch
answer.
what watch what
Let,
happened.
Mark.
Hold
Let me
on,
answer
hold
him.
on,
Let me
y'all.
answer him. I
Hold
have
on.
had sex with many women. I'm 45 years old. I have
Okay.
more sex than you. But guess what? I choose not to have sex with married women.
That's good. Good job
So
speaking
so
that.
so so
Uh,
so how many times have you been married, Mr. A. King? Once, and you divorced, right?
No, I'm still married. I
You
haven't
still
divorced.
married?
I don't have any reason. The same woman I've been with for the past 14 years, 15
Okay.
years actually, 15 this year. I haven't divorced. I haven't
Okay.
gone
So
anywhere.
have you been you're not dating them, right? Because
What do I
you're
need to date
married.
them for?
Okay,
I've
so
been
this is
married.
my point. Hold on. So this is my point.
Mhm.
You don't know, you don't understand the women of today. You know your wife. You've been with your wife.
The
You
same
haven't had
women
no
of today
intimate,
is still the same
you
women
haven't
of
had no
yesterday.
intimate relationships with any of the women of today. You do not know them. All you know them
The
on is a
same we,
basis of seeing them
brother.
here and there, hey and bye. You are not having
Guess
sex
what?
with them. You don't know what
You can,
they're
you
doing.
can let him talk.
You don't know what they're
Go ahead,
doing.
finish, man.
That's all I was saying. He's just like he's sitting here. He's talking about me, how I'm this, I'm a bum, and all of this. And it's like everything that I've said. He hasn't even been listening. How am I a bum when I work a job? How am I a bum when I have a
I
YouTube
got a
channel?
question for
But
Ikene. I
How am
got a
I?
question
How
but
for
am I?
you, Ikene.
okay,
How
let
am
me
I a bum
respond to
when
him before.
I
Let me
have to
respond
do?
to him
No, no,
before
no.
you
Hold on,
go,
Ikene.
Mark. Mark, let
Like
him
he just
respond to you.
it only
Yeah.
fits his
Hold on,
perspective
Mark.
now that I'm in a tank top, so he's letting the insults fly whether they stick or not. Like, and
Don't
this
take
is
it
what we got.
personal.
This is the disconnect with a lot of the older generation because y'all
It's
Don't
not your
we have
TikTok.
listen,
some knowledge to
bro.
It's
impart.
not your TikTok.
Don't take it personal, bro. Check this out, and we're
No, it's
gonna get
not
to the
about
bottom of
personal. It's
why this
about
is
this is
happening.
something that a lot of older people do, which
I
is they
I
know,
got
take
but
the
Mark.
insults,
Before let me
they
respond to
Okay,
him.
hold
He
on,
said
and
something to
then
me.
try
Let me
to.
respond.
Ikene, let Mark
you said
respond.
enough. Yeah, you just said enough.
Go ahead, Mark.
so here's one of the things, right? And I won't even ask him the questions. Here's the bottom line. This brother's obviously of African descent, and I'm not trying to create a frenzy or a topic about that. He can't even understand how an individual, a young individual like OTC can come to be in the place that he's at in life because culturally it doesn't compute for him. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So he can't give the advice or even tell him he can give the general advice, cut your hair, put on a suit, do XYZ, but he can't understand what it takes to get to this place. And I'm not even going to direct it at OTC. Let's just say the younger American generation, period, right? Because in your culture, in the African culture, y'all have your own set of issues that need to be addressed. And y'all got their specific way that we won't understand. In our culture, we have our own set of issues, but we got their specific way that y'all won't understand. So you have no room to give them the grace to even understand where this young man is coming from, which is not saying it doesn't make you qualified because maybe you have a set of wisdom due to age or whatever it is, but it's not going to be well received. The way you went off on the young man, he's not trying to hear that. That's not the way we get through to our youth and our generation, and especially in our culture. It doesn't go like that. So when the way Viz was disseminating the information, the way I'm trying to disseminate the information, we're trying to do it in a manner where the young man can not only understand it, but accept it and give actionable steps that he could put into practice so that eventually, if it's his desire, he can reach the expected outcome that he's looking for. So there are a lot of things lost in translation culturally between Americans and Africans that I've experienced on different platforms. And a lot of times I ask and I say, why aren't you addressing those issues that are happening within your culture with the young generation and your culture instead of being over here with this culture and trying to address this young man over here who we need to be addressing? Why are you not doing the same thing in your culture, addressing your young African generation in a way they will understand and bringing them up to
Let
speed
me
and
answer you
calling them
that.
up? That's a
Let me
question that
answer
I
you that.
have for you. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
be
yeah,
funny.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 no problem. No problem. No problem. Is a wise man will not take your question as an attack. Rather, address it so that way we understand. When you talk about American culture, this is where whenever we do things, we try to separate each other through culture or where you grow or your status or your class because we don't want something to be said. We start classifying ourselves. You're
That's
not the only
cap.
one that do it.
You
No, no, no,
said
no, no. Let
exactly
me
what me and
talk.
Viz said already.
I gave you all the
So
time
you
that you
can't
needed, right?
lie. You can't lie
Can
for a
can
premise.
you let
In with
me
the
speak?
insults, and now he's asking
I
you about
just
how do you give advice, and now
let
you
me
trying to
finish. If I finish, then you get
finish
the
the
floor.
point.
You respond again. But what I'm trying to say is what I'm trying to say is this, right? The same thing that happened in African American culture is not unique only to African American culture. It happens in a lot of cultures. People
His
that
question was direct animosity towards African American men.
OTC, hold on, man. Let him finish. Let him finish. Go ahead. Can I hurry up?
so so it's not only in African American culture. It happens in Nigeria because when you go to Nigeria, you find that Nigeria also has its own issue. And guess what? The same way I talk to him is the same way I will address Nigerian guy that does the same thing in Nigeria or in America. When I speak what I said, I don't look at where you grow up. I look at nature itself, because we humans, no matter where we live, where we grow up, we can always display the same thing. You see what I'm saying? So it has nothing to do with African American culture.
But you
That's
didn't
what I
answer
got to tell.
my question was, why are you not addressing those young men
And
instead of
that's what
addressing this
I
young
think.
man?
I
That's where
think.
my
I think.
confusion. One second.
I think
That's where my confusion lies, because Viz and I already addressed the
you
image.
you
Hold on one
you
second,
cut
brother.
off, you
1
cut
second,
me
brother.
off from
No,
talking because
I
number
don't
one,
mean any
I'm
I don't mean any disrespect to you. I'm gonna mute out. I promise. We already addressed the image with him. We already addressed the behavior with him. We already addressed what it is that where he says he wants to go and how to get there with him. We already addressed the hair. We already addressed the wife beater. We already addressed the consumption of alcoholic beverages and possibly drug consumption on camera. So those 7 things that we already addressed have been talked about. So why did you feel compelled to deliver it in the way you delivered it and think you were going to get an outcome that was different from the one that we already put out there? I'm
sir.
confused by that.
Okay, you can be confused because I can speak, and I'm speaking, and one of my speaking is, and I said it earlier, you guys were trying to tell him everything that he needed for over an hour. And every single time he came up, he was justifying his actions, bringing excuses. And what I came to tell him is that you got to cut out that excuse. Recognize what these guys are trying to tell you and work with it. Use it to fix yourself. Stop the excuse. Those are excuses that I gave when I was 15, 16 years old. When I was being advised, I want to come up with excuses and justifications and the reason why I'm doing this, the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I didn't want to listen because what? I thought that my excuse was better. I came to a certain time, I knew that, you know what? I'm killing myself. I don't need to defend my foolishness. I started implementing what people advised me. So when you talk about if I'm giving the same advice to Nigerian guys or African guys, I give that same advice 100% correct. And when they don't listen, I get heated up the same way I got heated up. Because you know what?
But
Sometimes the way you get a man to listen is to tell him that, you know what, call that bullshit. That's how you get
okay,
a man to listen.
I got you. But there's no reason. If these 2 individuals already had the conversation, why would you pile on? Do you think it's going to make it any better?
I asked the man a question, and guess what? He made the question invalid. I asked him multiple questions. I said, you know what? Cut that bullshit out.
But
This
again,
is what I want you to do.
I got you. But if you already seen Viz and Mark already had the conversation,
Mhm.
and if it seems like it's getting through to him, why would you pile on? That's not
Okay,
helping the
hey,
situation. He's
if
already
it's
got 2. Hold on. Let me finish. He's already got 2 individuals already coming at him, already saying what they need to say. And it seems like he was receiving it in a positive way. He wasn't taking offense. You know when offense came? When you took the personal shots at him. That's when it got offensive. It was like an OG talking to a young blood. He was receiving a message. Let it be. On the outside, let it be. There's no need of you jumping in. A lot
I,
of these 2 guys already handling it.
I
Now,
didn't
if he
jump
would have
in.
received,
Hey,
okay,
Hank,
all right,
there was no jumping in. I asked him a question. I didn't
okay.
jump in. I asked him a question because they were talking to him and he kept smoking. He kept smoking. He kept giving justification, just like you speaking right now, and he kept smoking
But
in the
okay, so
camera.
I'm listening.
I understand that, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen instantly right then in that moment. Maybe he needs to take some time. He needs to ponder over it. Maybe he needs to watch the replay and then come back later like, okay, them old heads, they was right. Maybe I need to change this. Maybe I need to adjust this. It's not going to happen instantly on the spot. That's not how it works for them young cats.
I'm a
And
man.
and, and furthermore, you got to stop
When I fought,
mischaracterizing the way that it happened. What you did was, brother, you went on a tirade against the young man and you included personal insults in it. So let's keep it 100. I
And
myself
you
wouldn't.
lied and said I had
And
kids.
I didn't insult the guy
I
personally. I
myself
said,
wouldn't. I would
I
not
said, this is
listen, bro.
bullshit. I
I
use,
would not respond to you. I'm a fully grown man, and if someone like you approached me like that in real life, I would not respond to you in a way you wanted me to respond. It's going one ear out the other, and it's popping from there. Like
guess
we
what?
don't respond that way.
Guess what?
You
Guess
can't
what?
get through to these young guys
I
like
got,
that, man. That's not
I
gonna
got.
work.
You know what? You know what? Young men know nothing. This I got to tell you. That is why I say wisdom
Wow,
is different
wow,
from.
wow,
Excuse me. Let me finish talking.
wow.
You
Young men
can
know
bring
nothing.
violence
Wow.
into your conversation. That's you. You
You
meet
just
violence. I
exposing your
meet you with
hatred, like
I meet you with violence. That's fine. But what I got to say to you is this: understanding and
and I didn't
hearing
attack
people
you
is
first.
just.
Don't forget to
No, no,
mention
no, no,
that.
no. OTC. I'm not talking about you, brother. I'm talking to Mark. Okay, sorry about that. I'm not. Mark asked me a question. I'm just responding to him. Hey, Mark, is very wise. Is very very man of you to tell a man that, hey, if you approach me this way, it's going to end with violence. If you bring violence, I meet you with violence. That's okay with me. But what I got to say to you is this:
So I should respond
if
violently
we
then.
have to advise, if we have to
Hold on,
advise
OTC.
each, if we advise each other, and you don't want to take my advice, you have that choice. You have that choice. When I deliver an advice to you and you don't want to implement it, it's not my problem. But if you keep seeking my advice and I'm speaking to you, I can get offended because you know what? You keep asking me for something that I'm giving you
I'm
the
glad.
answer, but you don't want to implement it, but you still coming to me. We are on this panel. So when you speak, I'm part of this panel. I'm responding as part of this panel, okay? If I'm outside, I can say nothing. So if three of you have spoke with him, as because I'm in this panel, I can ask him a further question. You see what I'm saying? That's why we're sitting on
Yeah,
this panel to talk to each other.
it's
So you
nothing wrong
can't
with
come
that.
and tell me, Gary, why would you? What? No, 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 no. That's not how. That is not. If that was the case, I would have just exited the panel if I don't want to talk. Okay.
But
He's
But
Kenny,
if I'm
let's
on the
simply
allow
panel,
address your
But
decorum of
that's not the
calling
but
hold on
me
Kenny,
one
let's
second.
allow
names.
OTC, I
Kim.
got you. But that's not the point, brother. What I'm
Well,
saying is this. If you just said it yourself. Why
That's
would you
not
keep
mature.
giving advice if someone's asking you and they're not listening? Number one, he didn't ask you in particular for anything. You inserted yourself, which is fine. You're a part of the panel. You have every right to speak. I'm just saying the way you did it wasn't the way that it's going to be received by these young men. That's just the reality
I
of it.
got you. If you
But what
if
I'm
you get off,
one
if you
second,
want to
brother.
take it
One
however you
second,
want
brother.
to take. No, no,
I'm
you good,
not
you
taking. I'm
good,
not
you good,
taking it
you good, you
anywhere.
good,
I'm
you
not
good,
taking
brother.
it
We can
anywhere.
go. We can move on. We can move on. I'm
But
done.
hold
So
on,
he can't
brother.
be wrong.
One
How
moment,
how
brother.
mature?
The hold on, OTC is all gravy. But the young man, we already addressed our concerns with the young man, and we literally said what you said verbatim. It was just delivered in a different form to where we felt the young
No,
man
I'm
or
a
the
Nigerian. I'm
new
not
young
qualified to
brother.
talk to him because you told me that,
Brother,
oh,
I
you
don't.
should have talked to, you
Kenny,
can go talk to your own
Hey,
people.
brother, are
You
you
can't talk to
okay?
our people.
Are
No,
you
I'm not
okay,
okay.
brother? Are you
That is
okay?
not okay.
all
You
right,
telling me
brother.
that because I'm a Nigerian, I'm not qualified to say nothing.
I
That
didn't
is why I
say
say
that.
forget about it. No, no,
If
no,
I
no. You
said
said
if
you
that's what I
inferred
meant,
it.
that's what I would
You
have said to you.
All
inferred
right,
it,
well,
and
look,
you should
Kenny,
hold on to it.
If that's
You
what
should
I meant,
stand
that's
behind
what I
what you
would have
said.
said
That's
to
what
you.
you
Kenny,
inferred.
he's not
I'm a
If
Nigerian.
that's
disrespecting
I'm
what
you.
not.
I
I'm
meant,
not
that's what
qualified
I
to
would have
talk to
said.
him because I was not. No, no. I'm a Nigerian. I'm not qualified to talk to him. So
No, we
just
didn't
cut it
say
out,
that.
brother.
Respectfully
Cut it
attack what
out.
you were saying. You were calling me a dumbass.
Hold on,
Wait, wait.
OT.
So let's
Hold
allow
on, hold
Kim
on.
some
Any
space to
OT,
speak, guys.
everybody. They cannot hear us. It's not productive if we can't be able to speak to each other. I mean,
Yeah.
Ikene, he was talking, and then you bowed out of it and said, "Okay, you can have it." And then when he said something that you didn't like, then you started interrupting. We can't interrupt each other because the panel can't hear you as well as the audience. So let's make sure we don't talk over each other. I want you guys to take a quick break. Let me get Kim in there. Then I'm gonna come back to Mark, and then Ikene can respond, and then OT.
I think, Mark, when you mentioned that we cannot talk to the youth like that, or we have to approach them different, I agree. I also want to point out then we have to be able to talk to women like or understand that. I mean, because there was a lot of grace extended to the young man. I agree, and I understand, but we need to extend and acknowledge we have to talk to women like that too. Not, and when I say women, young ladies, because the things that they go through are different. If I understood you correctly, you said each generation goes through things. We have our own set of problems, so we can't address it all the same either. Would you agree to that?
Was that directed towards me? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
because just because you mentioned, you said we can't talk, we can't talk to his, so we have to understand that we have to talk to all of them like that, or we have to use a different approach, is what I'm saying.
Here's what I'll say about that. I don't advocate for women in any shape, form, or fashion. I'm not against women, but I don't advocate for women. I advocate for men, because I see that there is no advocation for men to the degree that there is advocation for women. I don't have to advocate for women. I will protect the woman. I will do my duty. I'm a married man. I love my wife deeply. I'll advocate for her. That's the only woman I'm going to advocate for, her, my daughter, and my mom's. But I don't advocate for women. I advocate only for men, because men are going through something in this day and time that I have not seen growing up. And it's very disturbing to me, where young men can't get sound advice delivered to them in a fashion where they'll receive it, or a man has no place to display his grievances without being judged. And I think is extremely weird, the times that we live in. So to answer your question, I hope this answer is sufficient. I do not advocate for women. I directly advocate for men. And that's who I have, I guess, a quote unquote soft spot for, because I understand their struggle, and I hope to see it get better.
So Kim, let me say this real fast. Hold on, this. Now, audience, ladies, I don't know why Kim just did that. That makes no sense to me, because this has nothing to do with women. Now, when we talk about men, you want us to stay on men. We try to stay on men. But what you just did, Kim, is brought women into it. Had nothing to do with women. Let's stay on men. We always talk about men, then we get on to women. Well, ladies, Kim, we try to stay on men, and this is a situation where we need to stay on the man. So I disagree. The one part what Mark said, we can talk to the young boys like that if we have a relationship with them. Now, it's obvious we don't have a relationship with OTA, so we can't talk to them in a rough and in your face, punching your chest type manner. If we did, we could have that conversation, and OTC would know we come at them in love, not as jealous, not as being hateful, not as being spiteful. We come into them in love. It's called tough love. I come to my son's teammates like that. They know I love them. They know I care about them. I'm not going to come at them in a way that's not going to be productive. My son, the same way. I wouldn't come at him in a way it wouldn't be productive. My nephew, same way. I wouldn't come. Now, if I didn't have a relationship with my nephew or with my son's teammates, then they could look at me sideways and say, why this old man come at me like he's crazy? I understand it, but that's not the case. Unfortunately for OTA, we don't have a relationship with them so we got to come to them differently. We got to bring them in with honey. But as soon as we develop a relationship with him, then we're going to be on his ass. You understand what I'm saying? I'll leave it there. Nothing against you, Kim. I'll leave it there.
So I know a lot of pushback was given to Ikane, and I get it. I feel like in this situation, we saw 3 different stages of it. Mark clearly took the softer approach, not to say that, it was you're soft or whatever. You definitely took the more lax approach, right? My approach initially, it got called off. Hey, that's a little harsh. I tried to keep it moderate because I'm simply just that type of person. Now, Ikane came in and made a statement that we all pretty much are saying, but just in a different manner. My point is, and we talked about this a few weeks ago on King's Talk, every man is going to give their message differently, right? At this point, it's all hands off for OTC to be able to make whatever decision it is that he wants to make moving forward, because he's been exposed to everything. Going back to the very topic of this conversation, you don't need to experience pain to be wise. You just experience all 3 different perspectives on a different level. So what is it now that you're going to do with it? So in my opinion, I think that Ikane was fairly fair in his approach, simply because even with us trying to correct this young man, he's still doing the same thing. He's still blowing in the camera. He's still, he didn't bring the camera up to where it's out of frame. So I can't demonize Ikane's approach to it, because with him being an older man, this would be something that an older man, I would generally think, would do. Now, of course, Hink could turn up on somebody, but he stated his piece to where I don't know this young man, so I'm not going to go, balls to the walls like I would on Ikane. So I think that is it's just simply at this point, it's all on this grown ass man to make the decision on his own to figure out what it is that he wants to do or what not to do to get the very things that he wants out of life.
Well, I just want to say that, you know, all of these points have been based off the fact that I'm wearing a tank top right now. I've stated multiple times that I have work at 9 o'clock. So, you know, it's unfair to sit here and be like, oh, he doesn't want to implement no new changes when I actually have a job. You know,
But it's
I
not
actually,
it's not about you having a job. This whole conversation started because you said that you were in a position at your job expecting a promotion, but they didn't promote you because of the image that you're portraying. So that's then when I acknowledge the image that you're portraying. So you have to take accountability for that. It's not, you can't blame white men. You can't say women, oh, women wear makeup. Who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter. You are a black man living your own life, and you are responsible for every decision that you make. It's not on anybody else. That's the harsh reality at the end of the day. A lot of people
but
want to
see,
stray away from it, but that's just simply what it is.
I hear what you're saying, but this is where it gets skewed because then now we're just playing opinions.
It's
Because if
not
I show up
opinions.
to if I
It's
show up
not
to work
opinions.
and hold on. If I show up to work and I'm not wearing a tank top, I do my job and I clock out, it doesn't matter what I get off the clock and do.
It
So
does.
so it's like all of, and then I'm like, this isn't even this. We're on the internet. Like everybody that's getting on the internet is not getting up here in a suit. Now I'm hearing everything that y'all saying. Come presentable, all right? Like don't smoke and drink on camera. I'm hearing that. That's valuable advice that I could take. But to sit here and act like, oh, he's not really listening. He doesn't. It's over the top, and it's
But
like
you're you're not listening.
I'm already doing a lot more than other men is doing. A lot of men don't want to
It
work no
doesn't
more.
matter what everybody else
No, if
stop.
we
So look, bro. You
this
have
the
to stop. You have to stop doing this. Literally, since you got on the panel, you've been saying what other people have been doing and what it is that they're experiencing. You have to stop doing that. The simple
why.
fact, again, hear me out. You have to look at it from the outside in. If you have multiple men attempting to aid you, I wouldn't even say correct because you may reject that. Even if we're trying to aid you,
Before you finish, can you stop saying that I'm not listening to anybody on the panel? Because I notice y'all keep saying that. Like just because I have a different perspective does not mean I'm listening. And I keep paying attention to how certain people keep saying that. Oh, he's invalidating everything that everyone has said. No, I'm not. And actually, if you go back and listen, I've said, oh yeah, that's reasonable. I've commented that a couple of times. So it's like I'm not even being pushed back like that. I'm just offering a different perspective. Every time I speak, I'm not always disagreeing with what's being said, but it feels like to me
but that
there's this energy or this force that wants me to be in opposition, that wants me to be this bad fucked up person that doesn't have their ideas together or whatever. And I'm telling you that no, I actually have a plan. I've dealt with many women. I'm not sitting here begging for a relationship. All I'm saying is that the climate and the environment that we are in is very toxic. And to address these issues, we need to start being genuine about shit like, well, hey, if Shorty is out here fucking with
bro, look
multiple
what you're
women,
doing.
if can I finish?
Look what you're
If Shorty is
doing,
out here fucking with multiple men, then you can't sit here and blame all three of those men when none of them decide to deal with her no more. And
bro.
that's what I
Listen
see
to
a
what
lot of
you're
dudes doing.
doing.
Like it's not just one dude that these females is unable to have a relationship with. And when a man sit
But
here
Viz, this
and
the
speak on his
manifestation of
grievances,
when the wall goes back up. After we spent time with this brother and had him lower his guard a little bit and become a little bit receptive to what we were saying, and I'm not dissing Ikene. I'm not trying to diss this brother, but the way the wall went right back up. He went right back to being defensive and right back to making excuses. So you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a
No,
wild situation. Like I don't even know how to tow it from this point,
I
Paul.
mean, I
But
agree with
but
you to an
but
extent,
but
bro. But
Vic, you know
he's
one
still
thing
been defensive the entire time. Because even with us saying that he has to be presentable, he kept bringing up a suit. It's not you don't have to be in a suit to be presentable. You got on a nice polo V-neck. He got on a clean sweater hoodie. Kenny got on a clean hoodie. JR got a nice shirt on. You know, it's you don't have to put on a suit in order to be presentable. So for him to continue to say, "Oh, just because I don't have on a suit," that's not taking accountability for what it is that we're actually talking about. It's,
I
You're
it's
agree.
you being
it's not. I'm
presentable
not
in
okay. I
whatever way.
understand that, but I'm not. Now you're playing word semantics.
I'm
Of
it's
course, I
not
know that.
words, bro. That's
That
what you're
is word
saying.
semantics because that wasn't the basis of my point.
That's what you're
That wasn't the
I
saying.
basis
don't
of
know,
my point.
OTC. I might have to owe
That's
Ikene an
literally what
apology
you're
at the end of
saying.
this because now you taking a turn for the worse, bro. I don't know
No,
why.
because what I said, because yes, I kept repeating suit because we were talking about presentable. You're wearing a suit.
You don't have to wear a
But
suit,
so
bro,
are
is
you
my
saying
point.
that I said that every time I get on the camera that when I said presentable, bro, all I was saying
That
that I
is
was just being
exactly
I
what I
provided
had before I reacted.
All right,
That's
man. We
exactly
gotta.
what he
I
said that
was
I
being
had before I
hyperbolic, bro.
reacted.
I know
I
I don't
wasn't
have to wear a
reacting
suit to
because
get
of
on
how
the
he
internet.
dressed now. I was reacting because of how he said he dresses. You see what I'm saying? Okay, go ahead, brother.
You went off the rails, Ekene, when you start calling them all type of MFs and stuff like that. It
Exactly.
was too
And Biz
passionate.
tried to validate him.
Oh
You
no,
did.
no, no, that wasn't. I get no, no, that wasn't to him. No, I
Because
was
he
just saying
wasn't
about the
And you know
presentable.
what's
whole
crazy?
thing,
You
the
know what's
whole thing. No,
crazy?
no,
It is,
that I
You
it
know
wasn't
what's
was.
attacking
crazy
him
though?
directly. No,
He
no, no,
said
no,
a
no. I
whole
didn't.
bunch of we
But if he
didn't know
felt like
none of
that,
the
I
other men.
apologize. That's
Hold
not,
on, let
no,
me
that
speak,
wasn't
man.
against him. That wasn't against you.
It was against me.
So,
If you
It
so,
record
wasn't.
it,
so,
if you
Hey,
hold on, hold
he
on, hold
just
on,
he
hold on.
just said it
If
wasn't, bro. Accept his apology and let's
hold on,
move
let me
on.
speak, bro.
hold
Let
on,
me
hold on,
speak.
hold on, y'all, because y'all can't. I think when we talk about communication, man, we gotta you gotta study. There's layers to it, and that's why I've been speaking a lot about communication because, like, you can't invalidate what he says. Not saying y'all are, but you also can't pick and choose how he responds to it. You know, he may not respond to it right away. You can't expect people to change overnight. And I think one of the things we need to lead him with is that, speaking of personal experience, like the job does watches you. So when I was working for this particular company, like I was being watched. You know, my podcast, everything I was doing was being watched. And so you can do whatever it is you want to do, but just kind of keep that in mind when you move. And it may not be the dress, but it could be the smoking because even though weed is legal, I think that some companies still frown upon it. Even though it's been legal for a while, it's still not accepted by everyone. And some people do have more privileges than others. So it's just something to just, again, put in your toolage. Uh, It's just some value in your pocket. And whenever the situation presents itself, I'm confident enough that you'll be able to do it. The one thing I did want to speak about, and we got to do a better job at like listening. And it's not saying that anybody wasn't listening, but the one thing that I did hear him say is that he is listening. He may not be responding the way we want him to respond, but he was listening. And that's all information that I needed to know. I feel comfortable getting off this live stream, hearing him say multiple times, especially now, and even early into the conversation, he did say he was listening. And I believe that even though he may not be checking his chain, again, change don't happen overnight. So if he's listening, he may need a little bit of time to process it. He may sleep on it. He may wake up a different man. It could be 2 weeks from now. He may just use it when he need it. But we can't expect to see that change like right now. It's not gonna happen. Some people may do it, some people don't. But all I needed to hear was that he was listening.
And I just want to speak on the fact, bro. Like I want to just make it. I'm 28 years old. Like I don't know how old a Kane is, but I have had many jobs. All right. I've lost my jobs for simply telling somebody if you touch my stuff, then it's gonna be an issue after work. Like I don't get the freedom to sit here and speak any kind of way that I want. And for me, as a young black man, to get on this panel and have to listen to this man sit here and be like, "You dumbass, you got kids, and I don't have kids." He's basically calling me the stereotype. And then to hear this guy up here in the suit be like, "Oh, I don't disapprove of how he was speaking." When the reality of it is, me being in a tank top and have tattoos, if I were to get up here and acted like he just acted, everybody would have shitted on me. There would have been nobody on my side. See, and this is the problem with older men. Like he just got a pass to act like a child. Because I didn't sit here and call him all kinds of dumbasses. I didn't sit here and yell at the camera. And it's not that like I'm not capable of it. But it's like
Oh,
when as young men we try to elevate and try to get that level with y'all. When y'all disagree, you go straight to insults. And then you got other older men like, oh, well, that's how men talk. But if I would have came at him disrespectfully first, then it would have been, oh, you don't have no respect for elders.
Yeah, I do.
OTC,
Hold on, y'all. Hold on.
wait,
I do want to
I
say
got to
something.
address
Hold
something
on,
real quick,
Viz.
bro. Please.
Viz, hold on, Viz. Hold on 1 second. I do want to respond to you as well, as I know I spoke to the gentleman, but speaking from your POV, just trying to take everything personal, which I don't think you did, but I mean, people respond differently, man. I don't want you to ever get yourself in a situation where somebody gets you off your square and you respond off emotion. So I commend you for not firing back, and just like a lesson, if I had to give you, is that the message is going to come in different ways, but just try to look past the tone, try to look past the emotion somebody may be giving you and see if you can find a message. Always try to be optimistic about the things in life instead of looking for the negative, because most people focus on the negative instead of the positive behind it. And I think it'll help you throughout life. I had a similar situation that you. I had a workplace violence situation where I stepped down in a comment for you, and I told this guy, I said, man, keep my motherfucking name out your mouth. I told him that. And because witnesses were all around, I was removed from service. I got a call and I was removed from service pending investigation because of that, because I thought men just talk things out man to man, but some people don't operate like that. But I also understood that I was operating under the guidelines of somebody else's company, and that workplace violence is something serious. And so because it is something serious now, if you ever talk to somebody, you got to talk to them one-on-one. You can't have no witnesses around. Otherwise, you put yourself in a situation. So that's called playing the game. I had to start playing the game at somebody else's company in order to get the results that I wanted to do. And it's not saying that you less of a man, but they're just rules. And outside of that job, it's rules in this world. How you got to navigate. It's rules to money. It's rules to discipline. It's rules to parenting. These are things that you're going to be able to grasp. So I think he is listening, and I'm confident enough to know that some of the things that we said, if not all, he's going to take that and he's going to consider it, and he's going to move differently and better if he sees that it's value to him. But you can't make him do it. But we got in the stream though, man. I got daddy duties to attend to. But I'm going to get through these super chats quickly, and then we'll close out. I know everybody has something to say, and I apologize for you guys not being able to do it, but we got to go. Keith Randall, $2 says, a panel of men. I appreciate it. Let's get active. Truth and Reality Undefeated says, why does Spear Chucker on this brother like that? Keith Randall, $2 says, why do African men think they know us? FBA mean. Keith Randall again, $2 says, OTC Robo says, productive black man, and salute. Truth and Reality Undefeated, $5 says, OTC is right. The women of today are different from the Ikene was dating. TikTok, Snapchat didn't exist. It is his why, even African American. I'm not sure he's trying. $2 OTC, salute. Young productive brother, salute. Truth and Reality Undefeated, $2. No one is the same at home as work. Obtuse. Obtuse again. $2. He is not working for or dating y'all. Presentable. Ernest Elmore, $5 says OTC is right, but he doesn't know what he's right. 98% of black women are liberal/feminists. He may have to cross the track unequally yoked. Keith Randall, $2 young. Listen to young black men for once, please. And lastly, Mayhem the Goddess, OTC Robo, I feel you. You stay productive. The older gen don't get what your generation goes through. It's a fight every damn day for black men. Salute. I want to thank everybody that has contributed to the platform. OTC, appreciate you, young man, for coming up here, sharing your story and being vulnerable. Thank you. Thank everybody. Thank Ikene. Thank you.
OTC, we love you. We love you, brother. We love you.
Love you too, fam.
Okay.
Y'all do me a favor, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Anybody want to say anything for 1 minute that absolutely have to get this out? Anybody? Well, y'all good.
Let me say,
I got something to say after Hink. I got something to say.
You an hour. Who got that time? But let me say this, man. I said it earlier. It's not going to happen instantly for them. I said it early. It's not going to happen. He may have to marinate on this, watch the stream, replay it, and see it later before you actually get it. That's just how these young cats operate. It's not always instant for them when it comes to knowledge or somebody trying to teach them a lesson. It may take somebody to say the same thing 2 days later, and they gonna say, "God damn, it must be it can't be a coincidence. It has to be fact." So OTC, man, good luck, man. Whatever you trying to do in your life, man, I wish you nothing but the best, young blood.
Yeah, I got to say this real quick. I got to say this. In 1998, right? That was when I was still going to church.
So
You
about to be
see,
a long story.
no, it's gonna be 45 seconds. So I didn't want to go back to school. I just want to do my thing, however I want to do it. So this guy has been trying to get me to go back to school. I didn't want to listen. And then one day, it was like about five of us. Two guys, him and his wife and me. Five of us. And he blew up. He said to me, I've been trying to advise you that you don't have $1 million in your account. Your parents don't have that money to support whatever you want to do. But I got to tell you this. If you don't listen to me and go to college and get a backup stuff for your life, you're going to live the rest of your life to regret it. I'm not going to speak to you about this anymore. He went on for 5 minutes. I kept quiet. I walked out of that house and my life changed forever. I went back to school the next day. Today, I'm an engineer. And every day, I think about what that guy told me. He wasn't a family member. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is this, OTC to you especially. I may have come up rough, but I have love for you. I see you and I see myself in you. Okay? I have love for you. Your success is my success. If you fail, I fail. If you succeed, I succeed. We might not have a relationship, but if the things that I say changes your life, you might never get to meet me in person, but I will live to be happy for that.
All right. Everybody else good? All good?
I just say something briefly, man. 5 seconds. Just go forth and prosper, brother. These brothers on the panel gave you some amazing advice that are the pillars and the basics for success, especially as a black man. So move forward with it and do what you got to do, and just understand from here on out, you've been given the game. So if you drop the ball, it's on you.
All right. On that note, man, we are out.